9,300 kilometers from our last race in Amsterdam, we have landed here in Hong Kong, China for the second major of the season and for the first time the Cigna Healthcare Asian Open Championships. It is East meets West, and right here in the center of the tourist hub, this skyline lights up at 8 p.m. every single night for the Symphony of Light. And that is exactly what our athletes are going to do on the floor of the Asia Expo tonight. We have got 6 places up for grabs in the World Championships. Let's find out who is going to take them. "25 minutes on train from that Symphony of Light is the Asia Expo, and this is where we're going to be taking on Hyrox. 8 kilometers of running, that brings you to the skiergs, and then the grid format for tonight's Elite 15 races. The sled push, pull, the burpee broad jumps, and sandbag lunges are going to take place in the center of it all. Before the farmer's carry is going to bring them to this section of the expo. It's going to be some tight racing amongst our men and women, with the warbles culminating it all. Who is going to book their ticket to the World Championships in Chicago? My name's Lauren Smith. I'm delighted to be here once again with Greg Williams from The Rocks Life. Greg, we're in Asia.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd be saying that at the start of last season. Like, how exciting is it that we have brought Hyrox over here? Not just Hyrox, but the entire Elite 15.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a sign that the sport is becoming truly global and is growing like all over the world. The Elite 15 are here. It's a major race. It's a huge race. It's a stacked race, and yeah, it's great to be here.
We've got so much coming up for you in this pre-show. We're chatting to athletes. We're going to give some insight into the ways that they're going to race. And of course, in about 30 minutes, it all kicks off with our women. And things are slightly different here today because 3 spots have already been taken to the World Championships. That happened in Amsterdam a couple of weeks ago. Who are they?
So on the women's side, it was Lauren Weeks that won the race in Amsterdam. Then Megan Jacobi was second, and Joanna Wettrick was third. So those 3 claimed their spots for the World Championships in Chicago. Then on the men's side, it was Alexander Ronchevich that won the race. James Kelly, in a great race, finished second, and then Rylan Shadeg finished third. So again, those 3 have claimed their spot already.
So how does it work then if 3 are already taken and those 3 end up on the podium? How do people now claim spots for World Championships?
Well, there will always be 3 spots available, 3 spots taken at every major. So if those 3 of those winners, 3 of those from Amsterdam finish in the top 3, then the spots will roll down to 4th, 5th and 6th. So we'll definitely see 3 people qualify today.
So that is 100% what is going to make this race so exciting. It's not just about podiums anymore, it's about that midfield battle as well. And going back to Amsterdam, we kicked the season off with some of the best racing I think that we've seen, especially off the back of a very exciting World Championships. What did you make of the race?
Yeah, you're right. Fantastic races on both the men's and the women's side. The women's side, it was great from start to finish. Lauren went out really hot, finished like winning ultimately, but it was behind her where there was a lot of great racing, a lot of positions changing hands all the time, and it shows the strength and depth of the field now that everyone can really compete. Everyone that's here has a good chance of competing.
Talking about competition, there's one man who, let's say, is top of the world at the moment, and he's on for a he's on for a grand slam, Alex Ronchevich. He wants to come here and he wants to take not just this, but all majors this year. Is that possible?
I think for him, it certainly is. He's been around the sport for years and years and years. He's one of the most consistent athletes we've ever seen. He's now the existing world champion, finally. He came out in Amsterdam, performed incredibly strongly. So if anyone can do a Grand Slam, it's Alex.
But he's up against some stiff competition. Who are the main contenders?
there's a lot. Certainly Michael Sandbach is back today. So we didn't see him in Amsterdam. He ran a fantastic race in Nice and nearly claimed the World Championships. He finished second that day, but he's certainly one of his main contenders today, yeah.
On the women's side, Lauren Weeks, she's been in the sport forever. She's continuing to dominate. Should we expect nothing less with her out there today?
Again, a very, very consistent athlete, unbelievable performer, been around the sport for a long time. she didn't know if she was Hyrox ready before Amsterdam. She knew she was fit, but she didn't know if she was Hyrox ready. But she came out, done one of the best times ever. And so I'm excited to see what she can do today with a little bit more training, a little bit more Hyrox specificity. So yeah, excited to see.
Speaking of Hyrox ready, Joanna Wettrick. She was incredible in Amsterdam on her rookie debut. What should we see from her coming into Hong Kong?
Really exciting athlete. Like, only come into the sport this season, so we're still learning about her, seeing what she can do. She's only 22 years old, so she's got years and years ahead of her in this sport. But because she's came to a qualifying spot now for Chicago, the pressure's off on her today, and she can really push it and maybe even like experiment with a few things, maybe see how hard she can go from the start. So we could see a very fast time from her today.
Is she going to be the one to push, Lauren?
I think so. I think so because she's simply an incredible athlete, but because that pressure's off as well. If anyone can like take a gamble on the race and, you know, like I said, go out hot, see what she's capable of, it's her today. Whereas everyone else is really fighting for one of those qualifying spots, maybe doesn't want to risk so much. Joanna can push Lauren.
Speaking of Joanna, she is under the guidance of James Kelly, who is going to be racing in the men's elite field, and he's another one of these guys who have come through very quickly and has established himself at the top of the sport.
Yeah, he has. He finished like 8th back at the World Championships in Manchester 2 years ago. But since then, he's on a great trajectory, especially recently. He's been coached by Anthony Perricini, he's Lauren Weeks' husband, and his improvements lately have been unbelievable. He finished 3rd at the World Championships in Nice, really performed strongly in Amsterdam, finishing 2nd. And again, the pressure's off today. He can push it. Exciting to see what he can do.
You say the pressure is off, but I can tell you, earlier in the week, we took him on a little excursion, and when things started getting a little bit high, the pressure well and truly came back on. Take a look at this.
So we met through what race? Sydney or the Sydney race?
Sydney, yeah.
It's been great from my end to have another. I know John Wynn and Jess Petro are in the Elite 15 as well, but to have Jo secured herself in the Elite 15 as much as I have this year as well. So it's been great for, I guess, the Australian community to get behind us.
And from my end, like being so young and just coming into the Elite 15, like James has been so good as a mentor. I had no clue what this whole world was really, and going to Amsterdam, I had no clue what to expect, and being my first time even overseas, it was a bit of a culture shock and just a huge experience for me.
How proud were you when she booked a ticket in her first ever elite race?
I know, like very proud because it was obviously before I raced. You cemented your world championship slot before I did, technically. So, you know,
put some pressure on it.
You put some pressure on me. So, you know, as you've done already, Jo, you've cemented yourself in this sport so well so early that you're a force to be reckoned with. But I think we're both on the same page when it comes to viewing this sport as like a season now.
I see it.
He is big.
Yeah, he is.
Is it he or she?
You know, you secured your ticket, you settled a bit more, I guess, into what Elite 15 means and requires of you as an athlete. So what are the next couple of races for you?
Well, there's always going to be pressure, and a lot of people have been saying, you know, how does it feel the pressure's off that you've got your ticket? But there's still so many eyes on me, which obviously being the young kid on the blocks.
And then all of these awesome life experiences, like
I get to see the big Buddha and be terrified in 500 metres above sea level.
God, this just keeps on going. Where are we off to?
Oh my gosh.
Those two are duo to be reckoned with. And Greg, the APAC season, the Australasia season, started far earlier than that of the European and the US. Do you think that's playing a part in that early success?
I think it could be advantaged in today's race, for example, because they've both raced a few times already this season. They've got that experience under their belt. They've reminded themselves of what Hyrox feels like. They know their pacing, they know what they're capable of. So I think it can play an advantage, certainly, having some race experience this season, for sure.
Now, we've touched on a couple of them, but there is a huge field, and there's some really exciting names today, and a couple of new ones, or at least people returning for their debut major. Denmark's Ida Mathilde Steensgaard racing in the number 7 spot. We got the return of the German duo in Viola Bolander and Linda Meyer. Gestal in 14th. And at the top of that, Lauren Weeks. What you'll notice, though, no Megan Jacobi.
No. So Megan has been, existing world champion. You'd typically expect Lauren Weeks or her to be competing for the top spot, but unfortunately she's not here today. How that changes the race remains to be seen. Whether it means that Lauren doesn't feel the need to go out so hot, for example, it remains to be seen, or whether someone like Joanna Wettrick being in the race continues to put the pressure on her. We'll see. I suspect Lauren will still run her own race. I think that's what she knows. She knows that she wants to go out hot. Whether it changes what's happening behind her or not, we'll see.
Honestly, for me, that is what's going to make this race really exciting. And it's amazing how the absence of one could have the potential to change so much. But we obviously have our predictions. What about you guys at home? You can head on over to our YouTube channel and you can vote for who you think is going to be taking those tickets to the World Championships. We're kind of thinking the podium, but realistically, if, Lauren's going to be up there, Joanna's going to be up there, who is taking 3rd, 4th and 5th and getting that golden ticket to Chicago? It's going to be an exciting race, but there's one woman who isn't taking part, a late withdrawal, Lena Pooters. A real shame for her, Greg.
Yeah, it was going to be her debut in the Elite 15. She put in an incredible time recently this season in Hamburg that shows that she can be a competitor at this level. It's exciting to see. She's a young athlete, so it is a huge shame that we're not going to see her on this stage today, but one for the future for sure.
Oh, absolutely that. And the 3rd member of our team, Till Schenk, he caught up with her a little bit earlier on.
Lena, tough call. You were hoping until the very last minute. What is the issue and how do you feel right now?
Ich habe mich in Hamburg an der Hüfte verletzt und seitdem kann ich nicht mehr schmerzfrei laufen. Und dann habe ich heute entschieden, dass ich heute besser nicht starten werde, den Rest der Saison nicht aufs Spiel zu setzen.
So it's an injury stemming from the race in Hamburg. She was hoping until the very end, but she doesn't want to risk the season. She's still feeling it, so she's sitting this one out. Obviously, the big question is, what's the alternative plan now?
Die Alternative ist zu hoffen, dass es für Las Vegas reicht, fürs Ranking und dort ein richtig gutes Rennen zu machen, nochmal einen guten Trainingsblock davor zu schieben. Ja.
All right, so it's all in for Las Vegas now, hoping for the rankings. Have a great race there and qualify, Elena. Good luck.
Thank you.
So they spoke about that race in Hamburg, and whilst Lena might be out, we have the return, as I mentioned, of Ida Mathilde Steensgaard. She's not a new face, but this is her first major. What do we know about her?
Yeah, fantastic athlete. Typically races in the OCR world. She has been around Hyrox, but her focus has been on OCR. Things have changed recently. I think Hyrox is getting more of a focus now, and we're seeing the benefits of that very quickly. She's raced 2 incredible races already this season in Hamburg and Stuttgart that's put her into this race, and she's on a trajectory where she could be competing for one of the World Championship qualifying spots for sure.
She's got a huge amount of experience, as you mentioned, at OCR. She's World Championship. She's travelled the world doing this. How will she lean on that, I'm going to call it big game experience?
Yeah, I don't think she'll be intimidated by the scale of this event. She's got incredible running ability. Her compromise running is very, very good. I know she's been working on the stations to like improve her strength, improve her capabilities on things like the sleds and the wall balls. So that's a big decider for her in this race. But in terms of the scale of the event, I think she'll feel right at home, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what she can do, and especially as she has a couple of famous followers now ever since she released a Red Bull video. Channing Tatum has now got her on Instagram, which still blows my mind how the sport is going. But we did get an opportunity to catch up with Ida earlier in the week, and this is what she had to say.
Yeah, it is a quite insane feeling that this is my first Elite 15 major, but I mean, I have, shoveled in and out of Hyrox the last 2 years, but now I feel like it's finally my time to fully focus on this. Me and Sebastian, the other Dane, has been quite close to the Elite 15 for some time, and I feel like the Scandinavians is kind of, getting in there now, and I'm really proud that we have 2 from Denmark joining the Elite 15 majors. I would say success is a combination of 2 things for me this weekend. One is I really would want to qualify for the World Championship. But the other one is just like racing my own best race, really getting all out of myself. I hate when I feel like I've left something, in the tank when I cross the finish line. So just really feel like I've given the very best version of Ida Matilda, because then I can't expect that much more. I am getting a lot of support. Also for Red Bull, they're getting more and more involved in Hyrox, so that's really great. And I feel like Hyrox is getting very popular. I also really love that there's a very good live stream, so just like to be able to share with my friends and family at home so they can watch and tune in also like makes the excitement about doing the race, even higher. So yeah, I really love that it's also possible for people to follow along and like get really good high quality, media and streaming of the actual event. I expect for myself for this course to probably go out a little too hard, because that's classic me. I always do that in OCR races. I'm not going to go out as hard as Lauren Weeks. Then I know which stations that I'm very good at, so I'm probably going to push those a little more. And then I know the ones I need to survive. So yeah, something in between that.
Another very interesting statement there. She's not going to go out hard if Lauren Weeks goes out hard. So that suggests that she's going to build through the race. Where do you think she has the possibility to take hold?
I think one of the reasons that she won't do that is because she's not necessarily racing Lauren today. Obviously, she'd like to win, but she wants that World Championship qualifying spot, so she's not racing for that first spot necessarily. So she doesn't have to risk a race so early on. I think she needs to be in contention before the wall balls though, because the wall balls is typically she's not as strong as many of these ladies in this race. It's something that she's been working on, so she'll know she needs to catch up time before that station. So it's the midsection of the race is where she's going to get her time.
She said Scandinavia is coming. Well, there's another Scandinavian who's smack back in the middle of things, and that is the Swede, Michaela Norman. We know she's a world record holder. We know that at one point in time she was a major champion, or at the time it wasn't a major, it was an Elite 15 champion. And she's back from illness. Is she fit?
I think it remains to be seen. Like you said, she's got huge potential really, because she is an ex-world record holder. She won the North American Championships, but she's been struggling with injury, with illness ever since then, and we've not seen her at her best. She didn't perform as strongly as we might have expected in Nice or Amsterdam, but she's here, she's made the journey. She obviously thinks that she can compete, and again, because there's 3 World Championships qualifying spots up for grabs, she could be one of those that gets that.
Yeah, super excited to see her out on the floor, and honestly, we're just so happy to see her back and well. She caught up with Till Schenk a little bit earlier on in the warm-up.
Michaela, it's been a hot minute since your last race. I don't want to call you a rookie, but you're back on the circuit after a long time. How does it feel?
Exciting and fun, and yeah, I mean, it's always a pleasure being at a Hyrox event.
I did mention the word rookie. Obviously, you're not, but like not having been on the circuit for so long, do the nerves feel different?
I have to say, like, the nerves isn't different. I've been an athlete for 12 years now, but I never stopped getting super nervous.
Nerves are still, I'm telling you. Yeah. So obviously, haven't seen you around for a while. What are your own expectations for the race today?
Have fun.
Have fun. So everybody, let's have some fun with Michaela.
So, we always talk about jet lag, but I do feel like coming to Asia, for a lot of us, it applies to the entire field, and I mean, I for one am feeling it. How's that going to impact our athletes, especially those like Lauren Weeks, Lauren Griffith, who are coming from America, which is a good 20-odd hour journey away?
Yeah, it remains to be seen. I think jet lag affects different athletes differently. Lauren Weeks, for example, we haven't necessarily seen as impacted by in previous majors as others, but this is a significant journey for her. Almost everyone, like you said, has had a long journey to get here today. So I think it's going to affect different people differently, but without a doubt, it can have an effect.
Tills with both of our Laurens.
Lauren and Lauren, looking at you, you're definitely warm up. How you feeling for the race?
I'm so excited. Every race is an opportunity to learn, and I learn something every single time. I'm sure you can say the same. Yeah. So I'm curious what this race will teach me.
So one thing I just learned about you, I wanted Lauren to answer in your name and the other way around, but she said, I'm not sure I can be as polite as Lauren.
Yeah, she's even more polite.
So I'm gonna try. Is either of you willing to say you're gonna win today?
I'm not willing to say that.
It's a toss-up every single race. Like, when they say, oh, what are the predictions? You don't know. Like, no one knows, because at any given day, someone could have, like, a fantastic race, and then someone else could just not be feeling it.
So if you're not willing to say you're gonna win it today, what would make it a good race even if you don't win?
It's impossible to be no mistakes, so as few mistakes as possible will make me really happy.
How about you? Expectations for the day?
I mean, I would like to qualify. I mean, you know, we can always hope, but I feel like just giving it my all and knowing, like, by the end I did everything that I could to just give my best race.
And with those answers, I'm pretty sure we've established they are very, very polite. Good luck to the both of you. Both of you.
Thank you.
I absolutely adore that relationship, but with Lauren Weeks already qualifying, the head-to-head between our 4th and 5th place in Amsterdam is Lauren Griffith and Kate Davey, all part of the same hybrid engine camp. What separates these two?
Yeah, so these two are 4th and 5th in Amsterdam. They are slightly different races. Kate is a very, very strong runner, and you can see there on the screen that a burpee broad jump's an incredibly strong station for her. So she's going to make her move in the race. I think it's going to be there. Lauren Griffith, on the other hand, much stronger on the stations. She did go out very fast in Amsterdam and then maybe tailed off towards the end. So remains to be seen whether she changes her tactics a little today. But yeah, different races, but both well in contention today.
Can we take time to talk about mental strength as well? Like, both girls have it in abundance, but Lauren Griffith, when she passed out in her debut major and then got the clear from the medics, got back up and finished the race, what does that tell you about her?
Yeah, incredible strength to do that day. Got up, done the wall balls unbroken, whereas previously she'd not been able to do that, and then she's done it after passing out. That's given her the belief that she can do it in future races, and so wall balls is now one of her strengths. So she gets to the end of the race now, she's got that belief that she can do it. So yeah, unbelievable.
She's just one of those athletes, but that entire group, not only are they very polite, they also support each other, and that kind of support seems to bring out the best of them as well.
Yeah, it does. It's a really nice. There's a lot of nice friendships in that group. We were just down in the warm-up area, and they're all talking. It's all so friendly down there, isn't it, before the race? So yeah, it's a really nice feel about the athletes in the Elite 15, especially on the women's side.
Speaking of women's side, our Germans are back. Viola Oberlander, Linda Meyer, after illness and injury, they return in Asia. They will shake things up a bit on the leaderboard.
Yeah, for sure. They've been around the sport for a long time, always been towards the top of the sport. 4th and 5th at the World Championships in Nice, so it's exciting to have them back. You know, they're very good throughout the race, really good runners, good on the stations. Exciting to have them back. Whether they're completely fit or not remains to be seen. I think, you know, they're both out of Amsterdam for different reasons, but whether they're fully fit or not, we'll find out today. But again, for sure, like, well in contention for a World Championship qualifying spot.
When you look at this field, when you take into account where we are, how we've traveled to get here, and the scope of this, how much does it make you realize, wow, we have moved on as a sport?
It really has. The scale of the events, the production, the standard of the athletes that we're seeing, it's like global now. It's grown in such an incredibly short period of time as well.
Anyway, with that, Greg, thank you so much. I would offer you a chance to predict, but I know you're not a predicting man, but you guys can on our YouTube, and the results will be told during your commentary, of which you should probably get off to. Coming up, we have got the second elite major of the season. We are in Asia. We've traveled all around the globe, and now it is go time. 3 more tickets up for grabs in the women's race. And no Megan Jacobi. What's that going to do? How will that shake out? Let's head on over to Till to take you through the athletes.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Greg, yes, fantastic. We're just getting ready for the walkout here to see our Elite 15 women. So looking at them right now, getting ready for the race here. It's going to be an interesting day of racing, that's for sure. The second major of the season here. Hong Kong, always a little bit different. We tried to bring the temperature down here in the exhibition center, but Hong Kong, naturally, the weather conditions hot and humid. We've seen Lauren Weeks in the warm-up zone, absolutely sweating it there. And if we look at the start field today, it's a lot of unknowns. We've got Michaela Norman back, who hasn't raced since the World Championship in Nice. We've got Viola Oberländer, who struggled with injury throughout the season so far and is coming back now after her 5th place at the World Championship in Nice, which we all remember the drama with the final wall ball. She was crossing the line in 3rd, but she had to be called back here. So she was in absolute stellar form there and trying to reconnect to that. And we chatted also to Linda Meyer, who's like, hands down, she's not pretending. She's not in shape yet. This is a try run for Las Vegas. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the official walk-on of our Elite 15 here. Let's get ready for the 2nd major of the season. It is Hong Kong race time. First up, Jess Towell from Great Britain. By now, Greg's up here with me as well. Greg, welcome. Great to have you here today. Second, Alina Breuer down the chute, and we're seeing the smiles here from Jess Petrov. Get ready. Extensive warm-up that she's had. Jana Levenstedt, one of the many Germans in the race today. It's almost like it's a little bit like a German championship that we're seeing here today. You know, 5 of them lining up today. Sika Arning being the next one. And then Michaela Norman is going to be next, right after Sika Arning. The woman from Sweden, come back basically after being injured, struggling since the World Championship. So exciting to see her here today, see what she's able to show us in the race. What are your expectations for her?
I think it remains to be seen. She's struggled with illness or injury for a long time now, but we know her ceiling is huge in the sport, so it'd be great to see her back to her best. Whether we see that today or not remains to be seen.
Ida Matilda Stensgaard, who just gave us this beautiful little video of the hardest parkour on the planet. Obstacle course racer and Kate Davey. I know you've got your eyes set on Kate Davey, not the way it sounds, in a way of she is one of your favorites, and I think Lauren's favorites here for a potential qualification spot for the World Championship today.
Yeah, I think after her 4th place finish in Amsterdam, she's certainly got to be one of the favourites to claim her spot today.
Joanna Wittrick, well, what's there to say about her? You know, it's like she's come onto the circuit like an explosion. She's progressing from race after race. She's got a very own training style. I'm still not entirely understanding the whole let's run a little marathon after the major in Amsterdam just to, you know, relax and cool down a little bit. And then Viola Oberländer, she is back. One of the Germans racing here today. On a good day, she is definitely one of our favorites for the podium, without a doubt. And then Lauren Weeks. I tried to get her to say in the pre-race interview that she's here to win. She hands down refuses. She's just too polite. But is there a way around Lauren Weeks?
I think if anyone can do it, it's Joanna Wettrick today. Like because she's so new to the sport, because she's got such potential, because she's so young. If anyone can do it, it's her. I said to Lauren, the pressure's off her to some extent because she's already claimed her World Championship qualifying spot, so she can push things today a little bit more, experiment a little bit more. She's got a little bit more experience on the stations than she did have, you know, a few months ago. So if anyone can push it, I think it's Joanna today. But Lauren's without
Head to the Red Bull Arch if you want to see the start.
All right, let's see how it really unfolds here. We'll see as we're looking at our Red Bull start arch. This is where the magic's going to start in a moment. 1 kilometer runs, 8 workout stations on the way to the wall balls here. They're going to be the final workout, of course, the final station, and it's getting busy. You can't see it right now, but we can see it. It's getting busy in here in Hong Kong in the Asia World Exhibition Center for the 2nd major showdown of this season. These up. 1 minute until the race starts, and you can see the tension on the faces. I gotta say, honestly, like, this was the hardest interviews to get before any race I've had so far. I think even Nice, it was easier to get them onto the microphone. A lot of tension before the race here with the second major. A lot of our women not 100% where they want to be quite yet, so they're knowing, they're understanding, you know, they're slowly running out of majors throughout the season, and everybody seems to be focusing on Las Vegas, which is the next one, end of January, beginning of February. So you never know entirely. 30 seconds to go at this point. You know how much is just talk before the race, and then we'll see some surprise performances. You look at somebody like Linda Meyer, who on a good day definitely has got a win in her body, but she has no markers. She has no idea, no comparison. She literally doesn't know where she stands. This is her first test this season, so let's see how the action unfolds. We're just seconds away, 10 seconds to go, just under. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the second major of the season. Welcome live from Hong Kong. Let's race! And here we go. Out onto the course, and Lauren Weeks kind of like missed the start a little bit. You know, she knows she needs to be right, or she is going to be right out there, so there's no point for her hiding back there. And then Ida Stensgaard, the Danish woman in the blue pants, right with her. She is growing more and more into the sport with her obstacle course racing background. You know, it's like at some of the workout stations in the past, she was still, you could tell she was missing the specific strength, but she's really focused on it. She's getting stronger and stronger, so very excited to see her race here today. Just had a very successful video out with her sponsor, Red Bull. I think they gave her a lot of motivation, a lot of international attention, and an additional push for the race here today as well. And right on her shoulder, Lauren Griffith. So another one of our athletes who we can consider rather polite, so refused to say as well that she's racing for the win or the podium here. And next to her, the shooting star from Australia, Jonna Witschik. Kate Davey right behind over her left shoulder visibly, and then Linda Meyer. So this is an interesting one to see where she stands right now. At the point of the race right now, I'm not liking where she is. Linda Meyer, I think with not having any comparison, any times, anything from this season so far, I'm a little bit worried that she might be getting into this a little bit too conservative.
Yeah, I think race experience can count for a lot in Hyrox, and like relatively recent race experience, to know your pacing, to remind yourself how the race feels, I think can be beneficial. And Linda might just be easing her way into it at the moment. We do need to remember that Linda is racing for a World Championship qualifying spot today, so she's not necessarily racing Lauren Weeks here, and she's not racing Jonna Witschik because they've got the place. So she doesn't need to go out too fast, but obviously she doesn't want to lose touch with some of the other racers there, like Lauren Griffith or Ida Matilda Stensgaard. So, but yeah, she's easing her way into it, but you never really know how Hyrox feels or how ready you are for a Hyrox until you start one. And then it can soon tell you.
You mentioned the spots for the qualification here for the World Championship. So we have 3 athletes qualified already after the first major, obviously, and qualification spots handed to the top 3 at each of the majors, and then we're going to have a last chance qualifier in Barcelona in April. So first major, we've seen Joanna, we've seen Lauren, and we've seen Megan qualify. Megan Jacobi not on the start line here today. Very much looking forward to see her race again in Las Vegas. Sitting this one out right now and getting ready for the rest of the season. Lauren Weeks, we said it qualified, Joanna qualified. So 3 spots out for grabs. You got to come in 5th overall, assuming that Lauren Weeks and Jonna Witschik are going to end up in the top 3.
Yeah, that's right. And in that case, yeah, it would roll down to 5th. So yeah, lots up for grabs today. And there's very, very little that actually separates the rest of the field in terms of their personal best. It's only like a couple of minutes that separates them. So they're all very, very much in contention. If they have one of their best days, they can be up for grabs with one of those spots. There's no one really here just to make up the numbers as such. They've all got a good chance.
Oh, absolutely. 100% as we're headed into that first workout now with Lauren Weeks first. Interesting enough, if you look at her running, says about herself, she is just developing more and more into a endurance athlete. So the focus on the endurance part hasn't been that big for that long. And so she's continuously working. And very interestingly, at the major in Amsterdam, we talked a lot about nutrition and how Megan Jacoby changed nutrition and really approached that topic and so on, which is something that Lauren Weeks now is doing as well. Interestingly enough, focusing on the training. So you can see like new steps are being taken. So her focus right now is nutrition and training in order to A, train better, recover better, be able to train more, and so on. So, and that's the beautiful thing about the sport is so many little screws you can still work on. You can just, you know, change things, improve things, work on the details, which is all happening, and it has to happen. I mean, like, you've been around. If you look at the depth of the field of the women there, shoulder to shoulder, Lauren Weeks, Lauren Griffith, Jonna Wittrich, Ida Steinsgaard, Kate Davey, and so on, it's just getting incredibly competitive.
It really is, and there's a lot of women knocking on the door of this Elite 15 as well that are only seconds off of qualifying for the race, really. Like I just said, there's only a few minutes that separates them in terms of their PB, so everything matters, and it's the training, it's the nutrition. They're putting a lot of hours into their training, so they need to recover from that and fuel that. So nutrition is incredibly important, not just on race day, but for every training.
All right, looking at it here, you know, the beauty is in the numbers as well. Well, it's one of the things. So what you're seeing at the screen here, that's stroke per minute right now. And you're seeing Lauren Weeks just a little more controlled, a little less strokes. Interestingly enough, she's got less strokes per minute than the comparably taller athletes next to her, even though she's got like a shorter way. You would think she's got a faster repetition. But it's all about, at the end of the day here, it doesn't come down to the strokes per minute. You're not getting paid for that. You're getting paid for the distance that you put into that ski erg. And if you look at it, she is basically right out there with Lauren Griffith. Lauren Griffith's just gone past by a few meters there with the slightly higher stroke rate. So the general force they put into the ski erg right now seems to be very similar, with Lauren Griffith just going a little faster than Lauren Weeks in the repetitions, 1-2 per minute, roughly faster. And then look at the difference. Okay, so look at the technique. You're seeing Jonna Wittrich, you're seeing Lauren Weeks, you're seeing Lauren Griffith. Jonna Wittrich, very different approach she's taken there. She's keeping the elbows bent for a very long time. She doesn't fully extend all the way through like the other two do. She just basically moves very much with the upper body up and down. And if you look at the general technique, it's not a bad thing. You know, you initiate the movement with an upper body movement that goes down, that's initiated by the core, and you let the arms follow. But you see she is losing distance right now despite the higher stroke rate, with the very short pull that she is working compared to the other two.
Yeah, like different stroke rates and styles suit different athletes, but you might not. This isn't necessarily unexpected. Joanna doesn't have a huge amount of experience on the skiers, whereas Lauren is much more experienced. You would expect Lauren to be able to generate more power in every stroke, so for her to have a lower stroke rate is probably something that I would have expected. Joanna's strength really is her running, and she does lose time to some of the top athletes, or to Lauren really, on the stations. I think she's still finding her way on those, so to see a higher stroke rate isn't unexpected at all.
You know, if you look at it right now, you see how she engages the upper body way less. She uses way less force from the upper body as they're just about to finish the 1,000 meters. It's going to be Lauren Griffith out first, just ahead of Lauren Weeks. Jonna Wittrich a little bit behind. Ida Steinsgaard is right there as well. And the double Lauren out onto the course. And that is a beautiful thing to see. We had him in the double interview earlier today, and, you know, both just so excited to race here. Very laid back, well, I don't want to say laid back athletes, but, you know, very, very polite athletes. There was no trash talking, you know, there was no, we're going to take this here today. Each is hoping for a good race here, for good competition. And now they're leading the race here at the second major in Hong Kong. 7 seconds ahead of Jonna Wittrich, another 5 seconds ahead of Ida Steinsgaard. And then we've got the first out of our 5 Germans that we're seeing in the race here today.
Sika in there in fifth. Didn't necessarily perform as well as we might have expected her to do back in Amsterdam at the last major. But in Nice, she wasn't part of the Elite 15 race, but she was by far the fastest age group athlete on the day in the women's pro division. So she put in I think it was a 61-minute time that day on what was not necessarily a fast course by any means. So well, she's got a very high ceiling. It'd be exciting. I'm excited to see what she can do this season, and maybe today could be her day.
All right, seeing Lauren Weeks flying along the track here ahead of Lauren Griffith, and it's an interesting one as well, looking at the run here right now. Earlier in the warm-up zone, I had the opportunity to check the shoes that the different athletes are running, and you know, those modern super shoes with the carbon insole and the thick, you know, energy return soles and everything, they're becoming more and more popular. And Lauren Griffith, funny enough, is wearing a fairly old school traditional running shoe compared to example to Lauren Griffith, who's ahead of her. And simple reason for her so far is she says, you know, that shoe's always worked for me. Why do I want to change that? You might want to change that because the carbon soles, the composite soles, they do give a return. They give a little bit of a pep in the step here, and they might help you just gain those 3-4 seconds on that 1 kilometer run. That can make quite a difference here because, let's face it, getting into the workout station on the shoulder of Lauren Weeks feels a lot better than being 5 seconds behind.
Yeah. But it isn't just a running race. So for some athletes, they may find that if they find a shoe that they prefer for the running, but it compromises them more than they like on some of the stations, and they feel unstable on the lunges or the wall balls, for example, then they don't necessarily want to make that trade-off. So it's different athletes.
Which, by the way, the rumor has it, I've not entirely confirmed that, but I've heard there's finally going to be a truly fully dedicated Hyrox shoe developed by Hyrox and Puma coming out fairly soon. So very excited to see that and see what the key features on that one will be.
This is a strong run from Lauren here. So considering that they both left the skierg essentially together, she's opened up a huge gap already on this second run. And this is typically, we talk about Lauren going out hot. I think sometimes we just talk about that because she's a fast runner throughout the race and it seems like she goes out hot. But if she ever does make a move, it's normally more on the second run. She's a little bit more conservative on that first run, a little bit more conservative on the skierg than she otherwise could be. And it's the second run where she really extends, and that looks like she's doing it against Dave.
And here he comes, as she comes already into the workout station. And absolutely, I start getting the feeling that what she really needs as a warm-up is a good, solid skierg session. We keep seeing that how she just accelerates into that second run over again. Jonna Wittrich caught back up to Lauren Griffith, but I got to say kudos to Lauren Griffith. It was just a few seconds that she was ahead of Jonna Wittrich. Jonna Wittrich managed to run up to her, but not pass. And now they're into the sled push, the second workout here today. And interestingly enough, we had exactly this setup in the workout, in the warm-up station. And it was Michaela Norman who came over and said, like, is this the correct weight? It somehow feels really light today. So she seems to be feeling the weights absolutely, Michaela Norman, the woman from Sweden. So looking forward to seeing how she's going to do on that sled push.
It's interesting you say that though, because I was just watching these push, and they've not taken too many pauses, but it doesn't look, the sleds don't look like they're flying along. Like Amsterdam, the sleds look like they're reasonably quick. It looks like they're a little bit slower today, a little bit more struggle. It'd be interesting to see if they have little pauses mid-lane on these pushes where we typically might see them do that. Yeah, Lauren's just had her first break there.
Yeah, and we're seeing it with Ida Stensgaard as well. She's had that break already a lane earlier, pushing it through it now. You know, it's always about controlling the energy that you put out there. There's no doubt. So you want to make sure to not put too much lactate into the legs just to push it a few more meters further here. You want to conserve how much pressure you put on those legs early in, and Joanna Wittrich has now caught up to Lauren Weeks.
Yeah, which is interesting because I was saying that the stations aren't necessarily Joanna's strong point, but she's caught up some time here on this push. She'll be glad if she can get through these sleds in contention with Lauren. I think we're in for a really, really exciting race.
What I love about seeing is how very controlled she is going through that sled push. It's very controlled, slow step, but very continuously that she's taken. Now it's the quick rest there. I wonder if Lauren Weeks is willing to rest her for a second. Yeah, she has to. You can see she was putting the body fully in there, full force. And you know, Lauren Weeks, you're now seeing, she's like, she feels a little bit under pressure from Joanna Wittrich. This was the shortest break I've probably ever seen Lauren Weeks take on a sled push. She doesn't want to let Joanna go away. And now that makes for an interesting run duel out there on the course. Joanna Wittrich going out of the sled push first, and Lauren Weeks straight after her. But I'm telling you right now, as we're seeing Lauren Weeks, we've seen her before at the sled struggle a little bit, but then usually she would struggle on the run as well, and then looked smooth coming out off the workout station now onto the run. So she is fully in the game here right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's going to be interesting to see how this run pans out. You can push a sled, you can push it fast, even if it's really hard, but that can really ruin you for the next run. So it's possible that Joanna did that, but the early signs were that she hadn't compromised her legs too much. She looked strong as she came out of here. I think it was Sika Arnin in third came out. She looked like she was struggling a little bit more. She had a little walk at first and then a slower jog, whereas Joanna and Lauren ran out of there looking quite comfortable, to be fair.
And, you know, just looking at what's happening out there right now, unfortunately, I have to say, neither Viola Oberländer nor Linda Meyer were downplaying it when they said they're not ready. They're not in shape. They got to take it the way it comes. Viola Oberländer just now leaving the workout station, and then Linda Meyer coming out now.
And Michaela Norman, who you mentioned, said the sleds felt easy in the warm-up areas. She's the last athlete still on the sled push there. She looks like she's really, really struggling. She's still got a length to do, whereas everyone else is still out. So whether it's injury, whether it's illness, or whether she's just really struggling with the sled more than she expected, I'm not sure. But yeah, she's having a bad time back there.
So I said before the race, we got 5 Germans in the race here today. If we're not seeing at least one German woman qualify for the World Championship, something's gone terribly wrong. Right now, we don't have a single German woman in the top 5 where we need her to be. Oh, Sika Arning, sorry, that's right. She is there right now after the sled push, but actually getting out onto the run. She took a little more time in the rock zone, so she dropped back just a few seconds there. And then we see Briar Oberländer, Meyer and Levenstedt further down the board at the moment.
So that's Joanna Wittrich there on the screen. She just passed Jana Levenstedt. She's lapping her essentially on that run. So Joanna's looking quite strong on this run still. Now, if we go back to Amsterdam, it was certainly the sled pull where Joanna looked like she lost time. She looked like her technique on the sled pull wasn't quite as refined as some of the more experienced athletes in this field. There is a technique element to being able to push pull the sled. It's not just all brute force. So this next station is an important one for her.
Sled pull coming up for our women. You just got to be worried as competition. If you look at Joanna Wittrich, no matter how the race unfolds here, she's already qualified for the World Championship. She's just getting started with this sport. You know, she's just now started to fully focus on it. And she is going to be a real and serious threat for the future and potentially the benchmark. You know, that's the woman we needed to push the talent of a Megan Jacoby, of a Lauren Weeks even more, to force their hand to find even more new ways to stay at the top where they are right now.
Yeah, for sure. It will push them on for sure. And what's exciting as well is that she's only 22 years old. We've seen, you know, athletes in the Elite 15 far older than that, more than twice her age. So she's got years and years ahead of us. And what she could do in the next few years is very, very exciting, considering that she's already performing this strongly with this little experience in the sport.
And here they are into the sled pull, and you said it. This might be one of the most important workouts of the day today.
Yeah, for sure. Like just purely from a technique perspective. And I must say, it's already looking a little stronger than it was in Amsterdam for Joanna. She's moving through it quite strongly. She's, she takes the steps back. She's being quite calm and controlled about it. She, it's not like Lauren's already gaining time on her. So I think it is an important station, but so far, it's looking good for her.
And you're seeing very clearly how careful they are about not leaving that square where they're in. They're not allowed to step onto the wide line. So that's the absolute key here. So very careful movements at the sled pull right now, but a fantastic first lane from Joanna Wittrich. She is not losing any time here on Lauren Weeks at the moment. Let's see, if she can keep this up for the entirety of station number 3, then this would be a huge step up from what we've seen in Amsterdam.
Yeah, huge. You just touched on them being careful, and they do look like they are being very careful. If they step on that back line, it's a warning. If they do it again, it's a 5-meter penalty, which can be really, really costly in this race. That might cost them 30, 45 seconds, for example. That's a huge game changer in this race, so they do have to be very, very careful.
And then next up, we're seeing Ida Stensgaard from Denmark in then we got Lauren Griffith, Sika Arning. Sika losing a little bit of time on that run there. And the way it looks right now, potentially on the pull as well. I want to see where she is. There she goes. Just switching over now. And in the meanwhile, Joanna Wittrich in that first lane.
Another sign of how an athlete's feeling on the sled pull is do they run from one end of the lane to the other during the pulls? And both of Lauren and Joanna did. It looked like a solid run there. Sometimes an athlete will walk that portion of the race if they're really, really struggling, but it doesn't look like Lauren or Joanna are in that position yet.
And again, very interesting to see how differently the athletes approach this workout. If you look at a Lauren Weeks, for example, or just now left in the screen, Sika and Kate Davey the same, it's sort of a parallel movement of starting to walk backwards and then bringing the upper body up to add some extra force and pull that sled. You look at Ida Stensgaard, let's see if she does it again, or if that was just a one-off. She goes upper body first, so she throws her entire weight into starting to move the sled first by bringing the upper body up before she then starts walking. So it's a very different approach to most of the other women that we're seeing here right now.
I actually think Joanna's gained some time on Lauren Weeks on this sled pull so far. So I think that gap has been extended a little bit just there. So she's looking really good.
Yeah, looking really strong here today. What a start into the season that would be, getting the qualification in Amsterdam with a 3rd place, and then a potential win here today. And I mean, let's see how it unfolds in the end, but any day where you leave the sled pull ahead of Lauren Weeks is a good day already. And there she goes. Quick look over to the judge, and out she goes. Joanna Wittrich first back out onto that run, and Lauren Weeks definitely losing time right now on Joanna Wittrich, and so is every other woman at the workout station the way it looks right now. Ida Stensgaard, actually great to see overall improvement on the sled pull as well. Lauren Griffith making up just a little bit of time on her, but not all that much. And now this is going to be the last pull for Lauren Weeks, who is now the woman in the chasing position. The world record holder back out onto the track here, the 2nd major in Hong Kong, chasing down the woman from down under, Joanna Wittrich. And now we go. Ida Stensgaard is the next one out on the track. Lauren Griffith, done and dusted as well, just about 50 meters behind the woman from Denmark. And if we're looking at the top 4 right now, it is both Ida and Lauren Griffith who are a potential World Championship spot qualifier. So they're trying to fend off Sika Arning, who's now done as well, and heading out onto that next spot as well. And Viola Oberländer is called back. That's an interesting one. We're trying to figure out what happened here. Viola Oberländer sort of kind of all over the place at the sled pull.
That's a huge amount of time she's lost there, being caught back. She essentially almost ran out of the area, had to go back the long distance, and she's having to do another pull, presumably a 5-meter penalty that she's got. This is costing her a huge amount of time.
So we're trying to confirm this, but the way it looks right now, Viola Oberländer simply missed an entire lane. She only did 3 instead of 4 from what we're seeing. That is... And now there's discussion between her and the judges. I don't think I've seen this happen too often. You know, she recovered quite well from those first 2 workouts. She was actually looking good on that 3rd run and then on the pull in general. And then she just misses an entire lane.
It's quite interesting on the sled push. You start and finish it in at the same end of the lane, whereas on the sled pull it's slightly different because you're pulling it. So whether she just got confused with where she was meant to leave or not and thought she'd done the full 4 where she'd only done 3, I'm not sure, but. Yeah, I must admit I've never seen that either.
I'm not sure we'll be able to entirely blame that on the COVID infection she had. But we'll try to catch her later after the race, find out what's happening. But happening out on the course, what you're not seeing in this picture right now, but we're seeing in here in the exhibition center, is that Lauren Griffith ran up to the shoulder of Ida Stensgaard. So the 2 of them in 2nd and 3rd now working very closely together on their way, trying to catch Lauren Weeks, who's in between them and that first coveted spot here, currently held by Joanna Wittrich.
Another important station coming up. Again, burpees hasn't been a strong point for Joanna because she's such a tall athlete. Getting down for a burpee, doing a broad jump isn't necessarily as easy as it might be for a shorter athlete like Lauren. So I do think Lauren, on her day, certainly can claw back some time on Joanna on the burpees. And then similar, slightly further down the field, Kate Davey, probably one of the strongest burpee broad jumps in this field. She can claw back some time on the 3 athletes she's essentially chasing ahead of her as well.
But we've got it on the grid now, Joanna Wittrich, and this, I've heard you once today say this isn't Joanna's strongest workout, and then she had the potentially fastest time of all the women in that workout station. Let's see how she's doing with the burpees here.
After the burpees, I'm not going to say it anymore. So if she can get through this in a good position, then the back half of the race is very strong for her. So yeah, critical station.
And you can see like everything's been done to get her ready and get her into shape for racing here. If you look closely on the side, what looks like bruises on her legs is from trying to relax those muscles, relax that fascia, flush out some of the lactate from the training. So she's really perfectly focused on the race here. And one more jump. There we go, first lane down, and now we got Lauren Weeks. Is she going to be able to crawl back a little bit of time here on Joanna Wittrich or not? That is the big question at the moment. And then Lauren Griffith, Ida Stensgaard. And look at that, Lauren Griffith not only running up to Ida Stensgaard, but actually just putting 2 or 3 seconds into the woman from Denmark. What an incredible day so far from Lauren Griffith that we're seeing here.
So Joanna had opened up a little bit of time on Lauren on that last run. I think around 10 seconds quicker on that last run. So 45 seconds, the gap coming into the broad jumps.
And the interesting one, if you look at it, we talked to a lot of the athletes before the race, and one thing a lot of them have in common is they're working on their run speed. They're working on their run strength. If you look at Lauren Griffith, she's put a lot of work into the run in the last couple of weeks and months, and not only into the run in general, but into her second half race endurance. So making sure she's still got that endurance, that speed, that energy, and the power in the second half of the race. That's what she's been particularly focusing on. And if that works out the way she trained, she's going to be a real threat for the top 3 here today, without a doubt, because we're still in this first half. And so another little thing Lauren Griffith has worked on, and it seems to be paying off just perfectly here today. I want to say probably the strongest running I've seen from Lauren Griffith throughout the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. She does start out aggressively, but if she can work on that endurance and hold on towards the end, then she can be one of the top athletes in this sport for sure.
One thing that's quite interesting, if you look at the field that we've got out there right now, 13 out of 15 athletes answered the question if they were data-driven or field-driven athletes, that they're field-driven athletes. So they're actually still, a lot of them, not working with the data. They're going by body feel. They're testing, trial and error, what works for them. So coming from a little bit more of an endurance background where data is everything, it'll be interesting to see once data gets, you know, more important for those women that we're seeing here right now, how that's going to change the game as well.
Just not necessarily seeing it on the screen, but just watching here, Kate Davey has actually passed Lauren Griffiths and Ida Mathilde Stensgaard actually, so I think she's sitting in 3rd spot at the moment. So her strong burpee board jumps are continuing today. She's largely neck and neck there with Ida, but she has just slightly edged ahead of her, so I think she's sitting in 3rd.
And that means huge trouble for Sigga Arning from Germany right now, who you can see is really pumping out on the grid right now. Sarah Perjani is coming from behind, looking a little more smooth, a little more relaxed. Very different approach if you compare Sarah Perjani, as we now got Lauren Weeks out onto the track, and she crawled back some serious time from Joanna Vittrick. And not only are we hearing that Sigga Arning is struggling right now, she's also got a first warning for an unclean burpee there, so she's got to be careful not to get a penalty.
That was Lauren Griffith there, just on the left of the screen, having a long break at the end of the lane, so she's really struggling on these. And yeah, you can see Kate and Ida have opened up quite a significant gap on her at the moment, and she's obviously struggling. So even like this next run and the remainder of the race could be harder for her than maybe Ida and Kate, who looking quite solid still.
Oh, and what an incredible move here by Kate Davey. We're seeing Ida Stensgaard right behind. You know, Lauren down on the grid right now, our Lauren. She's going to be really excited because we talked about it before the race, who we see as potential qualifiers, and one of the names she dropped was Kate Davey. I had Ida Stensgaard as one of the potentials on the radar here, and right now we would have them both in the qualification spots here for the World Championship. Sigga Arning, we got to say, at this point of the workout right now, probably the biggest loser of the moment. She lost a lot of time, a lot of positions there, but Lauren Griffith struggling as well, and now they're going out onto the run course almost shoulder to shoulder with Lauren Griffith. I haven't seen her this tired after any of the workouts. You can see like she was shaking out the entire body. The shoulders were tense. She was shaking out the shoulders. She's actually walking through the rock zone right now, getting those fluids in and getting ready for the run, whilst Sigga Arning is just grabbing something and running with the drink. This was a tough one for Lauren Griffith.
Yeah, that hurt her. Hurt her a lot. It hurts everyone, but it looked like it got Lauren quite badly. This is, I've got to say, this is exciting to see Joanna and Lauren Weeks leave within 3 seconds of each other, going into the back half of this race where neither of them really have any weaknesses. You can expect them both to do unbroken wall balls. You know, they're both good on the lunges, both strong on the farmer's carries. There's not a lot of time that you'd expect either one of them to make up on any of the stations anymore. So this could be a great race.
Oh, absolutely spectacular what we're seeing at the front here right now. And then you see that duo, 5th spot right now, Lauren Griffith, Sigga Arning, and not too far behind Sarah Perjani. That is potentially right now the fight for the 3rd and final qualification spot. We're right now, as it goes, we're just expecting Joanna Vittrick and Lauren Weeks to be somewhere in the top 5. So the 2 women qualified. So that means right now we can assume that you need a top 5 here to take one of the 3 qualification spots in the race. And wow, this is hard to call right now after the workout we've just seen, after the movement we've just seen. And you know, Lauren Griffith, she lost a lot of time, but if you look at her as an athlete, it's like she's such an incredible all-round athlete who's done so many different sports, from volleyball, basketball, football, ultimate frisbee, cross-country running. She ran marathons and so on and on. She's done it all. And, you know, that is just the experience she's going to take into the second half of the race here as well. And we'll see if her specific training for the second half of the race is going to pay off or not. Lauren Weeks not entirely able to run up to Joanna Wittrich. She's getting real close now, but she's like a slow mover. Maybe also just a smart move. She's going to be there as they're headed into the workout station not long from now. Get ready for the row, which I'm very keen to see because it's another very technical workout.
Yeah, it's a technical one. Again, we talked about on the skierg where Joanna doesn't necessarily have a huge amount of experience on it. She had a higher stroke rate, doesn't necessarily generate as much power. Maybe we'll see the same on the row. Her height might play some slight advantage on the row compared to the ski. We'll see. But I don't think there'll be a vast amount of time between the two of them. One point I was going to make though on the athletes behind them, they do have different strengths. So Kate and Ida, for example, I don't think have ever gone unbroken on the wall balls. I know Kate can do it in training, but I don't think she's done it in a race. Whereas Lauren Griffith has, like, she passed out in Vienna, she got up, she's done the wall balls unbroken, and then she's done it again since. She has that capability to claw back some time on the wall balls for sure. So those other athletes chasing that World Championship qualifying spot do have different strengths, and there can be times made up on different stations.
Something I find very interesting is to see Lauren Weeks, how little she uses her upper body, how much she uses her legs. So don't get me wrong, the row workout is a leg workout. There's no doubt about it, as we got Kate Davey coming into the workout right now. But you still have that leverage from going far to the front with your upper body and then basically using it like a catapult to accelerate back once you've used the force off the legs and give like the row that extra little push towards the end. But not a lot of upper body acceleration there from Lauren Weeks. Basically, all I'm saying is I'm still seeing a little bit of potential there. I know that the fitness coach of some of the German athletes is watching right now, who is very much into his rowing game, Björn. So I know you're seeing things here right now that you think we can improve on the end of Lauren Weeks' row. Don't get me wrong, if you're the world record holder, you're always right. And I'm wrong, there's no doubt. But also, she is sitting next right now to Joanna Wittrich, who, with the same stroke rate, seems to be making up a little more ground. She's using the upper body a little more in that later stage of that pull. And then look at Kate Davey. Look at that. Look at the acceleration of the upper body. So it's legs, upper body, arms. And legs, upper body, arms. That is putting some serious force onto the row the way we like to see it.
Joanna looks like she's got around 40 metres on Lauren Weeks there. So I think she's got a slightly higher pace as well on this machine at the moment.
Yeah. When you look at Ida Stensgård, for example, two things that really stand out. She's got a very early arm pull and upper body pull, so her knees are almost in the way. I'm not sure if that explains the band-aid or not. I don't think that's the injury, but you know, you get the point right now. And then look at towards the end, she pulls the handle very high up towards the sternum. So again, very different technique on the row. And I have the feeling that it'll be interesting to see the row times in the end in the comparison there. But I feel Ida Stensgård is leaving a little too much out there in terms of leg force, leg power that could go into the skierg.
But maybe that's a conscious decision though, to save herself for the lunges, for the runs, for the wall balls.
That's the other thing, you know, you cannot judge this entirely by just an isolated individual erg session there. But Joanna Wittrich, right now, she made up a few more meters on Lauren Weeks. You know, at the start, she was about 10 meters ahead. She's about 50 right now. There's going to be a couple of extra seconds there for Joanna Wittrich. And Lauren Weeks, she is pumping. You know, she looks like she needs to put a lot of effort into that black pole right now. Joanna Wittrich, like a machine here at the moment. She's going to open up just a few more meters. Just going to be sitting about 60, 65 meter lead by the time they reach the 1,000 meters and then head back out onto the run course. And it's fair to say, at that stage of the race, it is an unusual situation for Lauren Weeks to still be chasing somebody.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. She's used to having a race like with Megan Jacoby. It's exciting that she's got a race from someone new in the sport like Joanna Wittrich. But yeah, it's, they're going to push each other very, very close here, I think. In that race for the World Championship qualifying spot, Kate came into the row a minute ahead of Sika Arning, so she had a nice gap there on what's essentially 4 places behind her. Keep your eye as well on Zara Piergiani. She's very, very strong on the lunges, so can claw back some time on those ahead of her there. And then also in the relay, the mixed relay at the World Championships in Nice, she did the wall balls for England. She did those unbroken to win the title for England on that day. So she can do unbroken wall balls as well. So there's some time that Zara can claw back ahead there. So don't forget about Zara back in 7th at the moment.
Definitely 5th, 6th, 7th, too close as we got Kate Davey leaving the station here. 5th, 6th, 7th, way too close to call right now. Even 4th, you know, Ida Stensgaard, you can tell the road is not hers quite yet. She's also working, I don't know, that might have been the last final pole there with a very loose strap for her feet. And she is out onto the run now, about 120 rowing meters ahead of Lauren Griffith, but she still looks incredibly well and incredibly stable and smooth heading out onto that run. And Sika Arning seems to have recovered quite well from the burpees where she suffered so much. As we're seeing 40 minutes into the race here, presented by Amazfit. The first Hyrox specific watch with the T-Rex out on the market now. And Lauren Griffith, she is on the way. She still is where she needs to be. She just needs to make sure to keep the other women behind her in the final third of the race here. Yeah, that's quite a gap between her and Ida there. So I think she's going to be much more conscious of those behind her rather than trying to push too much to really ruining her race to try and catch Ida. I think she just wants to try and manage those athletes behind her and manage that gap behind her. And you know, you mentioned Ida again, and no matter how this race unfolds for her in the end, it's great to see what's happening here. You know, this spectacular OCR racer, and this is the first season she is properly focusing on Hyrox specific training. Everything else before, and she's done out of OCR training. And you can see a huge difference already in how she presents herself here today. So if she continues that focus, she's going to be a really interesting one to watch throughout the season as well. Yeah, you're right. It's how quickly the change seems to have happened. She's always been like a good athlete, but to have relatively recently given Hyrox the focus and to see the improvements already, and she's raced a couple of fantastic races already this season and performing strongly here today. So it's happened very quickly. So what she can do in 6 months' time, for example, is exciting to think about. Oh, absolutely. If you look at it, we're in November now, so after the race in August, she started focusing more on strength training, specifically legs. She realized, okay, you need more power in the legs for this kind of racing that we're seeing here, and it is definitely paying off today already for her. One of the biggest differences for me is seeing, despite the added strength that she's showing at the workouts, she managed to keep that run of hers very stable, not suffering too much from the workouts. So huge step forward there from Ida Stensgaard. It's going to be exciting to see her, continue watching her throughout the season. As we now got Joanna Wittrich back into the next workout. It is time for the farmer's carry. And Greg, let's be honest, the farmer's carry, is there really an athlete out there who can make a huge difference?
not necessarily a huge difference. I was going to say it is a strong point for Ida with an OCR background. She's very comfortable on the farmer's carry. Where it can be more interesting is if you're having a bad day, if you're jet lagged, if you're not 100% feeling as good as possible, then you can start to suffer on the farmer's carries. And we've seen athletes like Hunter McIntyre springs to mind in Nice had to put the farmer's carry down for the first time that I've ever seen him do it. So when an athlete is struggling, you might see them struggle in particular on the farmer's carry, but being able to pick up a huge amount of time is also quite difficult.
So you see, Joanna Wittring more controlled walking. Lauren Weeks, that is, you know, and now Joanna Wittring is picking up the pace a little bit. I think she's realizing, look, Lauren Weeks is coming from behind. You know, she needs to get a groove on there. I'm not entirely sure what just happened there. Like, why? The first lane, she was literally just walking. There wasn't an attempt at anything that resembles running. I don't know what the exact term is for what you're doing at the farmer's carry. Everybody who's done it so far, you can't really run them much, other than maybe a few athletes in the world. So this is somewhere like, I want to call this a Kalahari shuffle or something that we're seeing.
A waddle.
Yeah, the waddle with the kettlebells here right now. Joanna Wittring after half of it, just picking up the pace a little bit. Lauren Weeks coming from behind now. So we had 15 seconds, 13 seconds coming into the farmer's carry. Lauren Weeks first looked like she's able to get closer to Joanna Wittring, and this is an important one. You know, something that's the judges are focusing on this season is you got to put them down clean within the wide square. They're not allowed to tumble out. We've seen it with that spectacular men's doubles in Amsterdam. Tim Venish dropping the kettlebells outside the zone and then having to be called back and losing valuable time there in their race. And Kate Davey, Ida Stensgaard in there is now as well. Ida Stensgaard, but Kate Davey, that is a great showing we're seeing here today.
Yeah, she's moving quite well here as well. She's looking quite strong here. She's not moving as slowly as Joanna was, for example. She's moving well so far. So yeah, she'll be conscious. She'll be able to see where Ida is behind her. She'll be able to see that gap, get a good feel for it. Whereas you can't necessarily on the runs, especially like on a course like this. So yeah, I think she'll be pleased with the gap that she's had, and she'll also be keeping an eye on like who's behind Ida and what's the gap there, because she'll know that that's the one that really matters for qualifying.
Oh, and you know, don't get me wrong, but that is Ida Stensgaard is fighting her inner demons right now. You know, if you compare that to what we've seen Joanna Wittring and Lauren Weeks, I think she's just struggling a little more with the arms and the shoulders right now. Ida Stensgaard really seems to be very focused on just trying to bring it home here. Keep that grip up, not drop the pedals. And behind her, that is, from what it looks like, Lauren Griffith flying right now. Yes, looking very strong. Right-hand corner up there on the screen. Sigga Arning then next to her, not trying to lose time, but Ida Stensgaard, she's going to be the next one out. The OCR athlete from Denmark, kettlebells down and off she goes, gets the go-ahead from the head referee. Back onto the track. 1 minute 47 down after the farmer's carry. Kate Davey in a great position right now with 2 workouts left here in the second major of the season in Hong Kong.
Yeah, great 30-second gap over Ida. Worth saying as well, only a minute behind Lauren Weeks. Like we're talking about how she's looking at the qualifying spots, trying to manage the athletes behind her, everything like that. She's literally only a minute behind one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen in this sport.
Sigga Arning, Sarah Perjani are behind, but the gap is fairly big right now. How much is the gap going to be from Sigga Arning to Lauren Griffith? She's got to find something out there on the track. She's got to find something within the sandbag lunges and the wall balls if she wants to, you know, claw back that gap to Lauren Griffith. It is 13 seconds, but if you look at their strengths, Lauren Griffith, Sigga Arning, who's got the better shot here at the sandbag lunges and the wall balls?
13 seconds is It's a very, very small amount of time when you're talking about those two stations. I think probably Lauren Griffith would edge it on those two stations, but it's hard to say, and it is very much dependent on how they feel and how much they've pushed themselves up to this point as well. And then remember as well, I mentioned it earlier, Zara's not too far behind there, so Zara is only 31 seconds behind Lauren. Again, because her lunges are so strong, she can make up a chunk of time there. Joanna here looking really, really strong on this run still, moving solidly. She left that farmer's carry 17 seconds ahead of Lauren. I'm not sure she's lost any time there either.
And here she goes into that second last workout for the women here, elite women's race. Of course, we got the elite men's race coming up as well. It's going to be a spectacular showdown with Michael Sandbach back on the circuit here. Tim Vinish in shape, better than ever before, according to himself. It's going to be a spectacular one, but for now, the eyes on the women's here. Joanna Wittrick on the way to a potential first major win for the young women from Australia, but Lauren Weeks not far behind. And let's face it, wall balls, you do not want to be shoulder to shoulder with Lauren Weeks.
No, you don't, but Joanna has done them unbroken as well, so it could literally come down to the speed that they can do them unbroken as well, because that can be a separator in this field. But no, you certainly don't want to be under pressure from Lauren Weeks on the wall balls.
And you know, we all remember that duel that we've seen between Megan Jacoby and Lauren Weeks, for example, in Amsterdam. And let's face it, you know, speed between the two of them, at the end of the day, there was probably like 2 wall balls in between them. There's only so much faster you can be if you're good at the wall ball. So this is going to be a very interesting one to see. Joanna Wittrick definitely has to fight right now to make sure she keeps that gap to Lauren Weeks as wide open as possible, as we've got the head referees taking a very critical look at Lauren Weeks right now. And Kate Davey coming in third on the way to the Sandbach lunges right now. We've got Joanna Wittrick just over half a lane ahead of Lauren Weeks at this still, and Kate Davey just going into those lunges now. And you just want to make sure you keep them clean. You do not want to have a distance penalty at the Sandbach lunges this late in the race when your legs are shot already.
Comic said Kate started really strongly on these lunges as well, moving through really nicely, got some nice speed on each lunge and not too many pauses at the moment. All three of the athletes in the lunge at the moment are moving very well, but I don't think Lauren's pulling back time on Joanna at the moment.
All right, welcome. Once we are done here,
no, it looks very much like this is still just over half a lane that she's ahead. But Ida Stansgård, look at that right now. First couple of steps, she just lost balance there for a second. But she is flying through that first lane off the Sandbach lunges. She is back in her territory, the woman from Denmark right now. Beautiful pace. Lauren Griffith coming into the sled push, and Sika Arning not too far behind now into the rock zone as well. That is the duel for the final potential qualification spot for the World Championship, which, by the way, is happening in early June in beautiful Chicago, the Windy City. And as a matter of fact, Joanna Wittrick is opening the gap on Lauren Weeks right now. She managed to open it up to 3/4 of a lane as we speak at the moment here. She is almost at the very end of that lane as Lauren Weeks is just now turning around. And Joanna Wittrick, she is done. She is running towards the other side here, and then she is making her way out onto the run course.
all right, this is the final round.
All right, Lauren Weeks, all eyes on her as the masses down here are making their move already. It's a little pilgrimage, a Hyrox pilgrimage down to the wall balls. We're expecting Joanna Wittrich not long from now. Lauren Weeks now headed out. The gap was 13 seconds going into the sandbag lunges. And Lauren Weeks lost some serious time here. Again, and the sandbag lunges. Kate Davey turning around for the final lap there as well now. Lauren Griffith managing to put a little bit of time, valuable time into Sika Anning, and Sarah Perjani is coming from behind. She's trying to keep up that slight, that minimal chance that she might have at the World Championship shot as well. As you see, Ida Stensgaard suffering. That is the face of suffering live on the screen here. But what a fantastic race from the one from Denmark. Turning around one more time. Last lane and the sandbag lunges for her as well. Guys, how are we doing on microphones?
Let's take Davey back to the track.
All right, Kate Davey on the way out, heading towards the wall balls, the final workout of the day. Ladies and gents, out on the live stream, we're getting ready for the big showdown here for the grand finale at the Hyrox Hong Kong Major. The second major of the season is happening.
And they want all your energy.
So there's Ida leaving, looking pretty strong on this run. She looked like she was struggling towards the end on those lunges, as everyone does. But the run coming out of here is looking strong. She's looking pretty solid, and she's got a nice gap over the position behind her. There's Lauren Griffith just finishing up on the lunges. She's looking a little slow, taking it a little bit more easy.
And you know, Greg, I think with the action down there and with the race we're seeing it right now with Joanna Wittrich having a chance, a shot at a first potential major win here, I'm going to head down to the wall balls. You're going to stay here. We're going to bring the action to you viewers live from the wall balls with everything that's happening.
So there's Sika and Zara leaving neck and neck now. They've got a gap to make up though on Lauren Griffith's ahead of them. So it's Lauren they're chasing down there for that final World Championship qualifying spot. Joanna still looking so strong though. 36 seconds ahead of Lauren Weeks leaving the sandbag lunges, and still looking really, really strong on this run. Strong on the wall balls. We know she can do the wall balls unbroken, so she's looking really comfortable at the moment. I think she's on for a very, very good time here. I think it's on for a sub 60 at the moment.
From Australia, getting ready for her first potential major win. We're live down here from the wall balls as you're seeing the 22-year young Australian having the race of a lifetime here in her very first ever professional Hyrox season. She was first at the major in Amsterdam, qualifying for the World Championship already, and she is bound to take the win here today. As we got Lauren Weeks coming from behind now as well, as Joanna Wittrich, 20 wall balls in. So a solid 23 wall balls ahead of Lauren Weeks. Joanna Wittrich, we're taking a close look. That's the first 30 wall balls for the woman from Australia. Lauren Weeks next to her, trying to catch up But right now, this looks like a strong potential first win for Joanna Wittrich. As we're still looking for second, third, fourth and fifth here. And Greg is the man who's got the oversight, who knows who might have a shot at the World Championship qualification.
So leaving the sandbag lunge with Kate Davey in that third spot. Then 30 seconds behind her was Ida, and then another 37 seconds behind her was Lauren Griffith. And then chasing Lauren was Sika Arning, who had 40 seconds to make up on Lauren, so it was quite a gap that Lauren had. So at the moment it was looking like Kate, Ida and Lauren were going to play in these spots.
Talking of again, we still got about 20 wall balls between Lauren Weeks and Joanna Wittrich. Lauren Weeks got a little faster. It was 23 wall balls difference when she got into the workout station here. And it is 20 now as Joanna Wittrich has passed the 60 wall balls. My, already she's at 69 the way it looks right now. Going strong. 68 it is, so very close to the 70 as we got Kate Davey in here now as well, coming in third. And she is going to leave it all out here to get onto that podium. And I think one thing is almost safe to say, if nothing goes wrong, the woman from the UK once again progressing through the fields. She is going to take that World Championship slot as we got a no rep from Joanna Wittrich down here right now. The head referees looking like eagles, but Joanna Wittrich, she is getting ready to take the win here today. A great 85 wall balls for the woman from Australia. Close to the final 10 wall balls, everybody. 90 wall balls done for Joanna Wittrich. She's got 7 more wall balls. Gonna go unbroken here today, despite the no rep. And here she goes, Joanna Wittrich. She is going to take the win at the second major of the season. Here she comes from Australia, Joanna Wittrich. Just about to finish as well. She's got 3 more wall balls. The world record holder from the United States on the way. And Kate Davey needed to take a rest as we've got a serious showdown at the wall balls down here with Ida Stensgaard, Lauren Griffith, Kate Davey, Sika Arning, and Sarah Kirchani. 44-45 wall balls for Ida Stensgaard now.
Zara came into those wall balls 42 seconds behind Lauren Griffith, so there's some time to be made up there, but that can happen at the wall balls. If Lauren falls apart for any reason on these wall balls, gets a lot of no reps or anything like that, then that time can certainly be closed, but it is a reasonably significant gap.
And if we're looking at it right now, this is the showdown. Who's going to take the final spots here today? Is it going to be the Danish woman, Ida Matilda? It's going to be Kate Davey. And who is going to take 5th overall here? We got Lauren Griffith, Sarah Bajani, Sika Arning. What a race from the woman from Denmark, Ida Stensgaard, at 73 wall balls. Kate Davey at 79. Ida Stensgaard is catching up. She's got a real shot at passing her. What a duo for 3rd place. Kate Davey, Ida Stensgaard. Ida Stensgaard just taking a quick break here. And it looks like Kate Davey might be able to just save it across the line here. And she has got the 90 wall ball mark now. 86, she is about 5 wall balls ahead of Ida Stensgaard. And I assume she is going to bring 3rd place home here. What an incredible move from Ida Stensgaard. It's not going to be enough in the end. But what a fantastic showing from the woman from Denmark. And here she comes, Kate Davey from Great Britain, 3rd overall on the day here in Hong Kong. but she is at 86 reps. Sarah Bajani going really strong at 70, trailing a little too far though. And 74, Lauren Griffith is going to be the next one across the line. Lauren Griffith, she is going to take that final qualification spot. She managed to put enough distance between herself and the competition around Sekaning and Sarah Bajani. And here she comes, 5th overall on the day, Lauren Griffith. What a fantastic showdown we've seen here at the wall balls. As I'm headed back into the studio, and my colleague Greg on the way down to the live show together with Lauren in a moment's time, live from the finish line. Just quickly catching my breath here. What a showdown at the wall balls between those women we're seeing on the screen right now. Kate Davey, Ida Stensgaard. That was the duel for 2nd and 3rd, with an incredible performance from Ida Stensgaard, closing the gap to Kate Davey. In the end, she was about 4 wall balls short, but left it all out there on the course today. And she is a force to be reckoned with in the future. Let me tell you that right now. Remember the woman from Denmark. It's her first season fully focusing on Hyrox after her, parallel to her OCR racing career, but the first season she is fully focusing on specific training for Hyrox, and it is proven to be a huge difference for her already. Hey everybody, let's take a quick breath here today. What an exciting race for the 2nd major of the season here, live from Hong Kong. And very much looking forward to celebrating our top women in a moment and confirming final times of the day. But from the way it looks right now, Ida Stensgaard, Kate Davey and Lauren Griffith might be the top, or the 3 women taking the qualification spots for the World Championship in Chicago. And I believe we're just getting ready for Lauren and Greg in the studio in a moment's time. So it's time for me to slowly say goodbye, but make sure to stick around. Watch our quick summary from our 2 professionals down on the grid as we're then getting ready and going live with the men's race straight after our analysis.
Till says take a break, but Greg, I'm not quite sure we get to take a breath after that incredible race. I mean, there was a huge amount riding on Joanna Wettrick's shoulders going into that, but did we expect her to take on a world record holder, a multi-world champion, and dominate in the form that she did?
I must say, like, we knew she was a strong athlete, we knew she's got great potential in the sport, but the way she took this race on today was really, really impressive. Like, she wasn't intimidated by the scale of the event, she wasn't intimidated by racing someone like Lauren Weeks. She looked comfortable, it's got to say, throughout. And I mentioned a couple of times, there's a couple of stations where it felt like she had improvements that she could make after seeing her in Amsterdam, but she looked comfortable on them throughout. Like sled pull, she opened up a bit of a gap on Lauren Weeks. Burpees, she done the same. So yeah, from start to finish, really, really good. And her running looked strong as well after coming out of those stations.
That is what's so interesting, though, is that actually they're both probably 2 of the strongest runners in the field. So when you put them head-to-head on track, there's probably not a huge amount in it. But the way Joanna was able to execute the stations and then not feel the pressure when Lauren did close gaps slightly on the run up until the point at which she pulled away. Yeah. I've not seen anything like that from a 22-year-old.
No. She looked like she's been doing this for years and years and years. And what's interesting is that the stations where she has been maybe weaker in the past, like sled pull and burpees, have been more technique-based, and so she's been refining that technique presumably in recent weeks, and it's come good. So now she can just really focus on pushing on her fitness and getting even faster and faster and faster. So what she's capable of in this sport, like, it's exciting to think about.
And Lauren, I mean, obviously the race is going to be different without Megan Jacoby, but she's now got a new competitor in Joanna Wettrick. Do we think, I don't want to make excuses for people, that's not what we're looking at here, but obviously having to come from further away, the jet lag aspect, at times you might have seen that sneaking in and playing its part.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's certainly a possibility. I mean, she's still done just over an hour, so it wasn't a bad performance by Lauren Weeks by any means. But certainly, with Joanna's like time difference to where we are is, I think, 2 or 3 hours. Still a long journey at 2 or 3 hours. Whereas for Lauren Weeks, it's like much more significant. And I think it's probably fair that has played a part to some extent. Yeah.
Can we talk about Joanna Wettrick at 22 breaking the hour mark in her second ever elite race?
I know.
Like, what?
amazing. Like, I mean, still, like, not a world record. Like, 58 minutes is the world record. But to break the hour mark again with like relatively inexperienced, where experience can count so much in this sport, yeah, like very impressive.
And we spoke about athletes who had already qualified, because Joanna, of course, has already qualified for World Championships, which means she doesn't need that ticket, but she gets to play around. What do you think she would have learned from this performance?
I think a lot of what you can learn, aside from like technique in Hyrox, is the pacing. Like, how can you push and when can you push? Do you do it before the burpees, or do you do it like after the burpees, and what impact does that have on your burpees if you do that? Like, that's the kind of thing that athletes are constantly playing with, but especially early on when you don't have so much race experience under your belt, that's the kind of thing that you're learning.
And we have 3 more, currently unofficial, but 3 more ladies who have qualified for the World Championships in Chicago, in Kate Davey, Ida Matilda Steensgaard and Lauren Griffith. 3 worthy recipients, but Kate Davies' performance. Let's talk a little bit about that, because she's always been somewhat under the radar until World Championships, and she went smack bang on it. Yeah. And then in Amsterdam, another great performance, put her in 4th, and now she's been able to get that job done.
Yeah, she has. Her trajectory lately has been incredibly impressive. We knew like she was probably one of the favourites for getting that spot after her performance in Amsterdam, but could she come all this way? Could she make this journey? Could she perform on the day? And she absolutely did, to be fair. There was a lot of pressure behind her from a lot of good athletes, but she looked strong throughout. And after the burpees, you know, she was slightly behind a couple of athletes and then passed them on the burpees, and then from that moment onwards, she was quite controlled and looked really strong.
And then she has the perfect kind of like wild card joke to play in her back pocket, and it's how good she is at burpees.
Yeah.
Like, she just must know that regardless of where she is, she can like pull out on that station and close a minute or 2.
Yeah.
You know, how does that change an approach to the race, knowing that you've got that skill set?
Yeah, I think some athletes like know that their strengths are maybe the sleds, for example, so that they have to go out fast and they have to push very early on. She can stay a little bit more composed and then know that not only her burpees are a strong point, but because of that, there's a significant amount of time. It's a station where you can gain a lot of time. And it also has to be said, she does very well, and then her run after is always quite strong as well, so it doesn't compromise her anywhere near as much as some other athletes.
No, very impressive from Kate Davey. Ida Steensgaard, she was on the radar. It's not like she's been off the radar, because we know how successful she's been in OCR, but to actually change sport, focus on one, and within one race, secure a ticket. Again, another very impressive display of how to deal with the pressure.
Yeah. She ran 2 races really this season before today, where it was incredibly strong, like significant PBs over what she'd done previously. So we could see that the training and the focus on Hyrox was starting to pay off. And again today, she looked very comfortable in what she was doing, and really controlled that position, I felt.
It's interesting, obviously. I mean, obstacle course racing, run, but you don't really get the break on the obstacle. Like, it's still heart rate at almost max capacity for long periods of time, but the obstacles are very, I guess, upper body focused.
Yeah.
But she managed to maintain through the second half of this race, which is a really like heavy demand on the legs.
Yeah, it's the lower body that's had her focus, I think, and it's come good very quickly. She, like, her running, her compromised running has always been good from OCR, but it's the lower body that's played the part.
Speaking of the woman herself, she stood right next to me. Ida, you've booked your ticket on your first elite major of your career. Can you sum up the emotion?
I mean, I am honestly really proud of myself. I had nothing to lose for this race, everything to win. It was my first major, and I just pushed myself, had a good battle with Kate, and then I snagged a ticket for the World Championships. It's amazing.
We were just talking about how you're focusing more on Hyrox this year than OCR. Do you feel like it's really playing off really quickly for you?
It's kind of wild because it's been maybe 3-4 months focusing on Hyrox, and I had 2 races like in a quite short amount of time within the last 6 weeks. So everything has just taken off, and then I qualified 2.5 weeks ago in Hamburg for this race, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. And now I'm here, and yeah, it's. Yeah, I almost want to cry a bit because I'm actually really, really proud.
And you absolutely should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
What do you think you're learning? Because obviously there's changing your training to accommodate this race, but there's nothing like being in the thick of battle.
I mean, I think it's really good. I did some races quite recently to kind of have that like race experience in me. As you can see, I'm really, really good at being in pain. I know how to dig really deep, find the beast mode from OCR, and you know, I just like racing, I like competing. I mean, this sport is really amazing, and the girls here are so good. We're so close, it's so exciting, so I can really find that extra gear.
I love how, regardless of how in pain you are, you have a massive grin on your face at all times. How much are you just enjoying the process?
I mean, I think there's something in me that maybe likes to be in pain a little bit, apparently, since I look like this, but there's something really interesting in just like exploring how far the body can go, how much you can push yourself, and it's all, you know, you against you in the end. And yeah, I'm just proud that I can find that really inner grind, and I had to dig very deep today, I must say. Whew, yeah.
Oh, well, we're super proud of you. We'll let you go and celebrate with everybody. Thank you so much for coming over to chat.
Yes, thank you guys. Bye.
Well done.
It's really exciting that we're getting all of these new faces into the sport, and actually they're doing so well. Like, that to me just shows how much we're developing constantly.
Yeah, it does. The field is already so deep. There's a lot of ladies knocking on the door wanting to be in these races, and we're going to see it more and more and more. People changing their focus towards Hyrox and coming really good as a result of it.
But then we've also got the ladies who have really narrowed down on this from the get-go. Kate Davey is one of those people. We discussed her burpees. We discussed how she's just finding her flow over the last couple of years, but mindset as well. She's managed to find something that is just driving her to these incredible performances.
Yeah, you're right, and I think it's belief. I think it's belief that you can compete at this level. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah. First of all, can I just say hi to George and Annabelle, who are watching at home? Yeah, that was epic out there. It was hard. It was quite warm, but you just have to back yourself. And if no one else is back, like, I've got a lot of people backing me, but it's got to come from you. You've got to believe in yourself, and you've just got to dig really, really deep. So I'm really proud of myself.
Because you came into this one, and like most of your experience has very much been like, you know, she's good, but she's like on the edge of the podium. She might do well. Coming into this one, we were talking about you being a major contender for not just the ticket, but the podium, and that changes things a little bit. How did you deal with all of that?
It's hard, I think, when I first started, because nobody really knows who you are. There's less pressure, less expectation, and I have found that harder to deal with. Sort of people, it's lovely, people messaging you saying, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, but then you feel sort of almost like you're expected to do that, and I think that does add pressure, but I just try and push that aside and just literally deal with that run, deal with the ski, deal with the next run, and just keep pushing. And I love the burpees. So.
Yeah, we know.
We can tell. Was there a point today where you felt like, where you started to feel comfortable and you felt like you had that spot wrapped up, or?
So I've raced Ida 3 or 4 times now, but in Stuttgart at the beginning of the season when I went to get a time and she was there to get a time, and we had a very similar battle. We're both, I was just saying to her, we're both strong at different areas of the race, so we don't actually really know where each other are. Because she's strong at the ergs and she's a bit stronger on the sleds. I'm stronger on the burpees, so until we get to sort of the end, we don't really know where each other is. And it was so close in Stuttgart. I think there was only maybe 6 or 12 seconds in it. And once again, it was, we're just like on those wall balls, I could hear she was maybe 8 behind me, and I'm just keep going. And we got to the end, and she was so happy for me, which is lovely. And we just said, I think I'm going to have an epic season, just almost racing her, because we're so similar. But it's really nice how supportive she is too. She is fast, and on those ergs, wow! Like, I just like she goes, and yeah. And if you see her doing her other stuff where she's like the climbing and things, she's really good in other sports as well. She's phenomenal.
You two are completely phenomenal. We're going to let you go and celebrate and have a really safe flight back to the kids and the family. We'll say goodbye to them. Bye, family. While we take a little look at the results from this race, and wasn't it an exciting one? The other and final that we will not speak to, booking her ticket to the World Championships, Lauren Griffith there with a 1:03.26. And after a really tough travel day, she'll be so relieved. I've never seen someone look more knackered after a station than she did after the Burpees.
I know. even coming into the Burpees, like, she didn't look like she really wanted to do it, you know. And then coming out, she looked like she was really struggling. So that back half of that race for her must have like really hurt. She had to dig deep for that.
But you know what? Digging deep is what we do, and it's certainly what our ladies did tonight. They were nothing short of incredible out on the floor. And luckily for us, it's not the last time we're going to be seeing them this year, but it is, not the last time we're going to be seeing them in the season, but it is the last time this year. So let's relive some of the best moments from today. So, 20 seconds to catch your breath, Greg, and now we're right back into the thick of things to preview the men's race. And this one is as spicy as ever because we see the return of the top four from the Nice World Championships. How much excitement does that fill you with?
A lot of excitement. The race in Nice was incredible, and to have the top four guys back here today, I think it was one of the best races we've ever seen in Hyrox. So to have these top four guys back today, like, it's very exciting to see what they can do.
And look how tight those times are. The top times from the top three, and then Podium, and then there's as well there, 58.30. He's back after missing the first race of the season, as is Michael Sandbach. Oh, we are going to have some fire on our hands. More than anything, because we know how much these four push each other.
Yeah. Again, going back to that race in Nice, we saw Alex Rončević, we saw Hunter McIntyre, really, who's not here today, and Michael Sandbach really push each other from the start, and then it was James and Palaio that came in towards the end. So, yeah, excited to see it again today. We saw it really in Amsterdam with Alex and JK were like racing neck and neck really throughout much of it, and it was a great race. And then to have Michael back in the mix again, like, he's going to push it from the start. That's how he races. I think we're in for a great race from the very start.
It's going to be spectacular, but we do have our defending champion and on for a Grand Slam. What is it that sets Alex Rončević apart?
He's been around the sport for years and years and years. He's the most consistent athlete we've seen. He's been at the top of the sport. Finally got himself the World Championship title back in Nice, and then came back, won in Amsterdam in a strong field. He's a phenomenal athlete. Like, he's very like, no weaknesses, like, very strong, great runner. He knows he can push it today. He's one of the best we've ever seen.
And he seems to never put a huge amount of pressure on himself. He's always one of those guys who takes everything in his stride. But when you put him up against the fiery performer that is Michael Sandbach, and you can just link back to Vienna, right? The last time these two went real head-to-head. How much kind of passion is on the line when they are in the field together?
Yeah. Thinking back to that race in Vienna, they sprinted out from the start tunnel. It was hot from the very get-go. Both very good on the stations. Like, they're similar athletes in that they race aggressively, they race hard on the stations, they go hard on the ski, you know, they're good on the sleds. So they are similar from that perspective. I guess Alex is typically stronger towards the back half of the race on the lunges and the wall balls, but similar athletes, similar racing styles.
Difference being, obviously, Alex has spent his time in Austria, where he lives. Sandy has spent his time in Thailand, getting a lovely tan, by the way, but also just helping with that time zone difference. We're beginning to see athletes take into account the smaller things that could impact performance.
Yeah, and jet lag can be a big factor for some people. So to have been in this region for 2 weeks and adjusted to the time difference, that presumably can only be beneficial for him. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he approaches the race. Like we said, he goes out hard, but he's racing for a World Championship qualifying spot today, and so he doesn't necessarily need to beat Alex to do that. He doesn't have to win the race. I'm just not sure he knows how else to race. So.
It's always a conversation we have when it comes to Michael Sandbach, and that's how he's kind of maturing as an athlete and how he's grown in his ability to race plan and execute. And we saw that in spades at World Championships. Do you think that's something that he's going to carry with confidence going forward?
I think so. Up to Nice, I remember saying that 5 pro races he started, he only finished in 2 because for whatever reason his head went or he got an injury or something happened that meant he didn't finish the race. But in Nice he was really tested, he was pushing the start, he was great racing, he got a sled pull penalty, whereas typically you might have expected him to pull up after that or whatever, but he raced on, looked really strong, almost like it spurred him on at the time. I think now he's also essentially a full-time athlete or coach, so his livelihood depends on this to some extent. So I think he's matured a lot, and I don't think we'll see that from him again, hopefully.
Exciting times from Michael Sandbach, and he is with the 3rd member of our team, Till Schenk. Slight technical difficulty, no sound on that VT. We will try and hear from Michael though. James Kelly, if there's going to be a man that really pushes those two, it's going to be JK.
Yeah, JK again is on a great trajectory, like 3rd at the World Championships in Nice. He's put in some of the, before that he'd put in one of the quickest times ever. He's raced already a few times this season. We talked about it earlier, like the Australian season has been underway for quite some time, and he's raced a few times in that, performed strongly, and then gave Alexander Rončević a great race in Amsterdam. He's got his qualifying spot now, so we know he can push it a little bit more today. He's a good racer as well. Like, it doesn't necessarily always put in a fantastic time, but he can really race hard, and I think he's gonna put it in today and like see what he can do.
He has got the 2nd fastest time in the world that he set at the last chance qualifiers in Cologne. Do you think he goes out to race his own race, just knowing that he's so capable on the runs, or how much is he influenced by what the field are doing around him?
It's hard to say. He's not necessarily as good on the ski or the sled. So the early stations, he's not necessarily as good as Alex or Sandy, for example. So I don't necessarily think he's going to like try and ruin his race on those stations by doing more than he knows he's capable of. But because he's got confidence in the back half of the race, and because he's got that World Championship qualifying spot already, he can push it a little bit more and maybe test things. So yeah.
Pelayo Menendez-Fernandez. We didn't see him in Amsterdam, and actually detrimentally so, because he's such a great guy and he's such an exciting racer. Can we expect him to push the top end of this field today?
I think so. He's a very different athlete to some of those that we've already talked about, in that his running is certainly his strength. He's not like the most physically strong athlete, so we won't necessarily expect him to be pulling the times on the ski, for example, that some of the other athletes are. So I don't think he'll be leading from the very start. It's in the back half of the race where he can come good. By all accounts, he thinks he's in the shape of his life. He's obviously had to make a long journey to get here. He lives in Chicago, like where the 2025 World Championships is going to be, but it's exciting to see him back. That was a good full place for him. I think he was very pleased with that in Nice. He's been working hard over the summer, so he's excited to see what he can do.
And what he would give to go to the World Championships in his home city. As would many of the men on this list, though, and we do have a couple already qualified in Ryland Shadegg, who makes it back. He's feeling less and less injured every day, which is great news. Bo Will's there. Also got a lot of potential here today. Tim Finish, Geoffrey Voisin out of France. Graham Halliday, a name back that we didn't see in Amsterdam. And Sebastian Iversen for the very first time on debut. And then the late addition of Gabe Heck. What happened there?
Yeah, so unfortunately Jake Dearden, who was meant to be here today, had to pull out due to injury, so he was replaced by Gabe Heck. Now, Gabe does live in this region. Like almost every athlete has had to make a significant journey to get here today. Gabe's has been the shortest journey, so he's adjusted to this time zone. I think he'll be really excited. I think he's got a lot of support. I think he's been waiting for this opportunity to perform on this stage, so and I don't think he'll want to miss it.
So we've offered you guys at home a couple of wild cards and a couple of, let's call them, safe bets. We do want to know what you guys think. Head over to YouTube, vote in the poll, and if the name is not there, then, you know, let us know what you think. Let us know who you think is going to take this one, because we've got some establishment and status quo, but a couple of wild cards to throw in the mix. And that is what's going to make this race so exciting. Speaking of establishments, well, there is only one defending world champion, and he's taking it all in his stride, including a couple of rather steep steps to a Buddha in the local area. We're on top of the world right now.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Little bit of you, right? You must be on top of the world after your recent performances.
Yeah. Looks like me.
Yeah, mate, if you put on a couple of pounds.
Maybe after my Grand Slam, maybe I'll be sitting up there.
Okay, at the top of the year, you told me you were going for a Grand Slam.
Yes, still going for it.
We're still going for it. I was going to say, is that still something that you're actively ambitious about?
Yes, for sure. I mean, now coming here without the pressure, having to qualify for Worlds, because already done in Amsterdam, winning my first major. Now I'm here, like, without pressure.
Is there any other way than Alex going hard from the top?
No.
Like, that is how you race, right?
That's how I race.
Will you trial some things, though, now you've got that ticket?
Maybe I'll try to go a bit harder on the runs.
Okay.
No, because I usually try to recover a bit more on the runs, and then I'll go hard on the stations. Now I'll try to go a bit harder on the runs, and then see like how I can, if I can still go hard on the stations. So we'll find out tomorrow. I
mean, this world champion title just seems to be suiting you so well. Like, honestly, you're just taking it so in your stride. Does that actually feel like that on the inside, or are you just giving us this cool, calm, like, front?
Yeah, for sure. I try to be calm and cool, but yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Like, being on the top means everybody's chasing you, everybody wants your spot, and but I've been in that position for like 5 years, like chasing, and but I know what it means, like, to be in the top. I know what it means to stay on the top, and how much of work it is. So I think I've put in the work the last couple of weeks after Amsterdam, and to stay on that position. And yeah, we'll see. I hope I can like still be at the top, like ending this year and heading into the next year and the third major.
Shall we magic 8-ball it?
We can.
Who's going to be top of the podium?
Oh, it's me. I like it.
Nice job.
Thank you.
So the Magic 8-ball is in fact not a Magic 8-ball at all. It is a snow globe of our family outing to the Ngong Ping cable car and Big Buddha, where you've got me, JK, Joanna, and our man Alex Ronchevich and our 2 cameramen. What a wonderful memory it is from Hong Kong, and it can take pride of place right there. But it is all about family, isn't it? And into this family come a couple of new people. One of them, Sebastian Ifferson. What do you make of him? Is he going to have an impact?
Well, I think he certainly has the potential to make an impact. Danish athlete, very, very strong runner. He comes from a great running background. He can put in some incredibly impressive times. He's steadily been improving his times over the past couple of years in the sport. He ran a 56-minute something in Hamburg recently, which is incredibly impressive. So there's very little that separates anyone in this field today in terms of their PB. So on his day, he can certainly do it. He's not just here to make up the numbers on his debut, I don't think.
Which is very exciting. We did get a chance to catch up with him. If you want to see that video, it will be posted on our social media after this race. But talking of this race, this really is the start of something very exciting in Asia that's been bubbling for a while, and it's our first experience of it. We're not just in Hong Kong, we are spreading everywhere. How exciting is that?
This is the news you have all been waiting for. Where we are going next. Hyrox racers, are you ready? Bangkok, Thailand, May 24th, 2025. And Yokohama, Japan, August 9th, 2025.
So I'm not sure where I want to go more, whether it's Thailand or to Japan. But with that, we're going to head on back to our man Tilsheng. Greg Williams is heading on over. Let's introduce you to our athletes.
You were just talking about Gabe Hack, and here he is on the big screen, getting ready for his race. A impromptu, a spontaneous start, but he lives around the region. Easy travels here, and he is beyond stoked. Sadiq El-Fituri. I want to say the hot four top men here in the top 15. He's going to try to show us an exciting race, and Sebastian Iversen. The man from Denmark. We had one Danish success story in the women's race here today, already from an OCR racing background. The same for Sebastian Iversen. Let's see what he can pull off here on this beautiful day in Hong Kong. Graham Halliday, and this is the man who runs a 3:25 kilometer within Hyrox and says to himself, I need to come down to 3:20 to be competitive, so I kept working on my run. The Frenchman, Geoffrey Vazin, the man who feels like been around since the first Hyrox race ever. And then Thomas Turek coming up next one to race here today.
All right, here we go.
The man from the Czech and Germany's Tim Weinisch is the next one on the line. He says about himself, he is in better shape than he's ever been before. Yannick Schapler, a German who somehow miraculously manages to fly under the radar the entire time, but a force of nature himself in Bo Wilds. I remember the days of Bo Wilds being staff at Hyrox and putting on events, and now he's here racing the lead 15. And according to our very own Lauren, he is a serious contender for a World Championship slot here today. Rylan Sherrick, the man who can't wait to be done with the race here so he can finally go paragliding in Hong Kong. He's been waiting for the weather to clear up to do that. And the triathlete turned pro Hyrox athlete, Pelayo Menendez-Fernandez, another one of the top contenders of the day here in JK. You hear it all over the place. He is one of the men to watch here today. Third at the World Championship in Nice last year, or last season, to be exact. Michael Sandberg. So what you could not hear in the interview, what he said is, I am in shape, but I don't think I'm in Hyrox shape yet. So it's better than Amsterdam, but it's not World Championship class yet. But then he also answered the question of what would make him happy today with a win. So I'm not too sure how those two are matching. And he also very clearly said about Alex Ronkovic's plan to win the Grand Slam this season, that it's not going to happen. And when I asked him who's going to change that, he said, he didn't just say, it's going to be me. He said, I'm going to be one of them. So he doesn't even think that Ronkovic can win 3 Grand Slams and a world title, or 4 Grand Slams and not the world title. We will see. But here we are with the lineup. This is absolutely wild. And if we're looking at the results from the poll here, Michael Sandberg is what 63% of you out there say is going to win the race. Other athlete is 18, Pelayo is 9, and Yannick Schapler. So this is the first spot for the World Championship. That's what we're not talking about the win, we're talking about the first spot for the World Championship, because again, we got the scenario with athletes being qualified. You don't necessarily need to win the race here to qualify for the World Championship. I'm telling you right here, right now, as we're talking to you, our viewers on the live stream, Tim Weinisch is going to take one of those slots.
Okay, bold prediction.
Yes. You don't think?
I don't disagree, to be fair. We've we've not seen the best of Tim for quite some time now. He had to pull out the World Championships in Manchester, then again in Nice due to injury at the last minute. He looked strong in Amsterdam. He looked like he was getting back to his best, and if he's had a good training block since then, yeah, I certainly think he can be up there today.
It's very simple. Tim Vénish says about himself, he's the fittest version of himself he's ever been, and no matter how the race unfolds, he's incredibly proud of what he's achieved in the last couple of months in training and progressing through the sport, as we're just about 30 seconds away from the start. So he is full of confidence, very excited to see the man from Germany race, but very excited to see everybody race here today. Michael Sandbeck, last little thoughts here just before the start. And with that, we're just seconds away, ladies and gentlemen, from our men's Elite 15 race at the second major of the season. Live coming to you from Hong Kong.
Get ready, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1!
Here we go. Michael Sandbeck fastest out of the gate. Tim Vénish on the inside line. Just quickly looking left and right. Who's still here? JK going with Michael Sandbeck going around. I'm like, hold on, where's Palau? Where's my Spanish former triathlete / Uber runner? He is still one of the very few men wearing a shirt at this stage of the race here. I love Rylan Sheddick, you know, he looks, Rylan, I love you, man. He looks like a tourist within Hyrox with his little fanny pack and everything he's running. But we've seen it before. We've seen it in Amsterdam. That's where he keeps his nutrition, which he's also very happy to share with just anybody out there on the track, because that's who he is.
I think one sign of how quickly these guys got out here, though, is that Rylan's not at the front. So normally he likes to go out quick. But where's Alex Ronkevich? He's way back at the moment. Normally he would start very fast as well. So whether this is deliberate, whether he's struggling for some reason, or whether the pace is just so fast that he doesn't want to go that fast this early on in the race, I'm not sure.
Look at the way he's gone past Yannick Jampler now. It looks a little bit like he might have just forgotten to tie his shoelaces or something like that. But yeah, very unusual not to have him, you know, right up there. He might be trying to just claw back up to them now. Oh, I cannot wait to see the timing splits for this opening lap. This is a ridiculous pace they're going right now.
And this James here, he's pushing this more than he typically would. Like he's got his spot already, so he can do this. But I don't remember seeing him do this before. I don't remember seeing him push it this early. He is a good runner. He's shown that. He's like, I think he had the best run time at the elite race in Nice, but he doesn't normally go this early with it.
I think he just had got this extra energy to spend. You know, you remember Amsterdam, despite racing, it's just like, he's been like a Hyrox, he's basically turned into staff. He's been around the grid the entire weekend. He's been helping out. He's been judging on that weekend. That man has endless energy, and it's quite interesting to see the fourth event that we're seeing here right now. A moment ago, Kelly was just about 10 meters ahead, and then Michael Sandbeck closed the gap again. Now Tim Vénish is going through them. Alex Ronkevich is back up to them. I think that maybe under the dictate of James Kelly, they were just going out just a little bit too hard, and Alex was just running the pace he knows, and is comfortable, sort of in quotation marks here, as comfortable as it gets at this pace. Alex Ronkevich now back up where he needs to be, but Tim Vénish absolutely flying right now with Michael Sandbeck on his heels.
They look like they're putting in little surges every now and then, a couple of them as well. Like James did it a little while back, and then Sandy, and now Tim has taken the lead here. It's changed hand a couple of times. So whether that's a deliberate tactic, whether they're just experimenting with how good they feel, not sure. But yeah, tiny little surges from each of them. And look, here comes James with another one. Just decided to take it on again.
I did ask Tim about his secret, you know, what makes him so strong this season, and I tried to get some details out of it, like what are you working on, and it doesn't give you anything. He's just like, it's just continuous and hard work. That's the only thing you get out of him, so he's keeping his secrets to himself.
More noise, please! Come on!
First run done and dusted into the workout station within 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Which means that's about a 3:25-ish, I would assume, for the 1K run, plus the rock zone that we're running through. To be exact here, so it's very mathematical, everything that's happening out there. That's why we're not doing it. That's why the pros are doing it. But the way the track is measured, it's got to be the same distance at every race, combined out of the run lap and the rock zone to the workout itself. And since the rock zone, depending on where we are, might vary a little bit, the track can vary by a few meters. So here it's been exactly 456 meters per lap, I believe.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, you know, between the in and the out, there's just like a little bit of a gap there in order to come to that 1 kilometer overall in the end. But that's just the running numbers here. Look at the stroke rates. Michael Sandbach, he was just going to 47 right there. You know, James Kelly just a little bit back, sitting somewhere mostly between 43 to 44, the odd 46 up there. But overall, all fairly even. James Kelly going a little slightly slower stroke rate, and it is Alex Ronkovic. I just want to point that out. It is Alex Ronkovic right now, who's the furthest into the row, almost shoulder to shoulder with Michael Sandbach, who's just about 5 meters behind.
Interesting point on their stroke rates. We're up on the screen there, around 45, 46. If you think back to the women's race, like Lauren was down at 36 and Joanna was the highest at 40. So the guy's stroke rate is significantly higher than we saw in the women's race.
Who's going to be first back?
You see, I find this very impressive. James Kelly and so many athletes do it. Racing with the chain would annoy the hell out of me with that thing flapping around the entire time.
650, 660. Ronkovic looking good right now. Slightly ahead. He's got that fourth.
Looks like Ronkovic and Sandy have got the highest pace on the ski at the moment, as you'd expect.
And Sandy literally not budging a thing there. It's 5 meters between him and Alex Ronkovic. It's been like that since the 350-meter mark. And that Tim finish, he's not too far behind, but he's got a few seconds that he's got to make up on that run. And that's easier said than done, because that second you got to make up on Michael Sandbach and Alex Ronkovic. And we've seen this opening lap, but let's face it, the truth in the running lies somewhere in the 4th to the 8th run lap, after we've got the sleds out of the way.
Yeah, you can push it in these early days, but what does it cost you later in the race? Once you got through the burpees, or once you even get to the burpees, what does it cost you by that point?
Thomas Twerdak doing really well, sitting in 8th there, but moving up through the ranks on the skierg. That's where he came in from the run. But now almost done, and here we go. Alex Ronkovic out, Michael Sandbach out, shoulder to shoulder.
Yannick Chapler as well there, down in 12th coming into that, but he's about to leave. He's made up a lot of time on that station.
Oh, James Kelly, look at that, like a sprinter out. Right, yeah, Ryan Shattuck, here we go. Oh, so close together behind our leaders. Tim Vinish made a really nice move there towards the end. Very swiftly off the skierg and back onto the run to be almost right up there with Ronkovic and Sandbach already. And there he is, squeezed right in between Michael Sandbach and Alex Ronkovic.
What a quick turnaround that's been as well from Alex. It's only a few minutes ago we were talking about how he's like, seems to be controlled quite a little bit further back in the field, and then boom, suddenly he's in the lead again.
What's quite interesting to see is every once in a while, if you look at their social media, is the run training they put in. You know, you got a Michael Sandbach, you guys like, oh, I cannot believe my mate convinced me to run this ultra marathon. And then he does that impromptu. And Joanna Wittrich, I think she ran a marathon or more, like 2 days after Amsterdam, just with a friend, supporting on a city bike, you know, that they had to run. And so on, which is, let me put it this way, not very 1 kilometer specific training. Oh, look at that. Alex Ronkovic, Tim Vinish. Ryland Sheddick going through Michael Sandbeck now as well. James Kelly is back up to them as well. But that's what I mean, like the first run compared to everything else is easy. After the first couple of workouts, you know where you're standing.
Yeah.
And look at that. It looks to me like Ryland Sheddick is closing the gap. He's like, I'm feeling my running legs today.
Yeah, and we saw similar in Amsterdam. Like he came into that race thinking it was, you know, maybe his last race for a while because he'd been suffering with illness for a while, suffering with his health. Amsterdam, he came in and looked incredibly strong early on in the race. He said to me, like, he loves to run fast. That's what he wants to do. That's what he enjoys most. And that's what he was doing. He got his World Championship qualifying spot on that day. He started strongly again here, but you know, thinking back to Amsterdam, he was like in the lead by that point. And here he goes. Like, I think he's reaching in for his gel that he took.
Is he going to share it? Is the big question. Is he going to offer? He's sitting in third. He's got nobody to offer it to right now. That was a beautiful move at the major in Amsterdam. And, you know, that is just part of the race nutrition that's going in. Sebastian Eversen had a gel before just the walk on here. He took the first one. He's going to take some throughout the race to keep the sugar levels up there. Which brings me to your point that we see a lot of discussions on YouTube right now from you folks out there as well. You know, what the doping situation in the sport is. And all we can tell you is that if you look at the major race here, we were at the athletes briefing earlier today, and every single athlete has got a chaperone who makes sure they know exactly where every athlete is at every minute before and after the race. And we've got anti-doping on site, and they're not leaving the athletes out of their sight once they cross the finish line. They've been given very clear instructions on what they can drink, that it has to be closed bottles they can receive at the finish line to really eliminate any danger of involuntary doping. And for the voluntary doping, tests are being conducted throughout the major races here. So yes, we're very much focused on having a clean and fair sport here with our Elite 15 racers as well, which brings us to these incredible athletes out on the grid. The first sled is up with Alex Ronkovic, Ryland Sheddick, Tim Vinish, James Kelly, and Michael Sandbeck. And look at that, our man Pelayo has caught up to Michael Sandbeck. You know, so much for triathletes can't push weights. Look at that. He is trying to move past Michael Sandbeck, the former professional triathlete from Spain. But Ryland Sheddick is feeling the day. He is right up there with Alex Ronkovic. James Kelly just a little bit behind Tim Vinish. He needs to rest. He doesn't want to let the gap open up too much, but he has to let our top three move ahead a little bit.
Come on, gents. Here we go.
Worth saying, just 20 seconds separated the top 10 athletes coming into this sled push. So very, very close between all of them at the moment.
Oh, look at that. They're leaving it all out there, absolutely pushing. Alex Ronkovic making a little bit of a move there on Ryland Sheddick. You know, just complete that lane. Here we go. Alex Ronkovic is going to be first back out on the run. Ryland Sheddick a few meters behind. He is the man that has to work to close that gap again.
Back to the track. Let's go, Hong Kong. Ryland Sheddick is after it.
And you know, Alex Ronkovic, it's fascinating. If you look at it, the man, the former swimmer, he used to swim 60 to 80 kilometers per week. Swimming, that is. So not exactly a sport that trains your legs a lot. And he transitioned himself into being this Hyrox athlete. And he does so purely by feel. He literally doesn't own a sports watch to check numbers or anything. It's crazy.
I think even in his training sessions from day to day, he's deciding what to do, what he feels is most appropriate for him. And that day, it's not like he has a whole week planned out. So Sadiq El Fattori there, I think he left in 5th position, so in one of the World Championship qualifying spots. A really strong performance on the sled push. And we have seen that, to be fair, from Sadiq in previous races. He does often start out hard. He starts that run hard, he pushes the sled very fast, and then it's later in the race that he doesn't always necessarily hang on for. So, but he's in a great position at the moment. Are they sunglasses that Ryland's put on there?
You know, I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. It is never too dark to be cool. You know, I'm just saying it. If you're in the zone. So considering he's only putting them on now, I'm going with these are not prescription glasses. Yeah. So if he was able to run the first 2 laps without, so yeah, there is a question for Lauren for the after-race interview right there. The big question is what's happening with Ryland Sheddick's sunglasses he's wearing right now. Do you have that thing in Germany? It's called Schnelle Brille. So it's basically, if you're a cool kid and you go to a party, you got to wear one of those sports glasses right now. We call them like fast sunnies. Okay. And it's basically fast sunny parties. Yeah. And you wonder how Germany dropped out of the 20 most powerful economic powers in the world, right?
This run here from Ryland is very, very strong, considering he left the sled push 2 seconds behind Rodzovic. He's opened up a big gap so far on this run.
Well, I could be going on about run form that we're seeing here right now, but it's a beautiful run form. He very actively uses the upper body for a very natural run movement that we're seeing here right now. Good flow. He keeps those elbows bent.
He's looking so good. He'd been struggling with breathing difficulties for a year, really, coming up to the Amsterdam race. Thought that maybe he got like a little bit lucky with how well he felt during the Amsterdam race, and he said to me that he's been feeling pretty good since then, like much better than he did in the lead up to Amsterdam. So this performance isn't necessarily unexpected after what he did in Amsterdam, but it's still amazing, like considering what he's been through over the last year or so.
I'm just going to call it what it is right now. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is absolutely wild what we're seeing here. He is running against James Kelly, Alex Rankovic behind Tim Venish. This is absolutely wild. Quickly checking his watch. You know, you want to make sure you've got those numbers. So apparently, Ryland, more of a numbers kind of guy.
3, 2, 1, make some noise! Ryland today in the workout.
And he's got time to celebrate. Ryland Sheddick celebrating with the crowds here in Hong Kong. Alex Rankovic is going to be next with James Kelly, then Tim Venish, and where is Michael Sandberg?
All right, how are we looking after this sled pull? Ryland Sheddick pushed it on that run.
Mentioned Michael Sandbach there. He actually left the sled push in 10th position, so he had much harder time on the sled push than you typically might expect from someone with his strength, you know.
You know, I think at this point it's fair to say he was right about saying he's fit, but maybe not Hyrox fit yet.
Maybe.
You know, but again, the important thing for him is to be ready for the World Championship.
Let's go, Ryland, come on!
And maybe in hindsight, he pushed that first run too hard. He was leading, you know, he was towards the front of the pack for that first run. Maybe that was too hard, considering he didn't know if he was Hyrox ready.
In Asia, in APAC, James Kelly will be a familiar face. Kate Beard in the World Champs.
And Ryland Sheddick is moving that sled incredibly well.
Yannick Chapler coming into this sled pull in 5th position as well. Like, he finished 4th ultimately in Amsterdam and gained a lot of spots in the latter half of the race. So we know he can actually perform quite strongly during the latter part. So for him to be sitting in 5th here, Very, very good for him at the moment.
All right, once again, it's top 5, 5th place, Chapla, Paul, Vinish, 3rd, Kelly, 2nd, Ronchevich, and in 1st, Ryan.
This sled pull, I mean, Alex has no weak stations at all. He's very strong throughout, but the sled pull is typically one where he does do very well on. I think Ryland's opened up a bit of a gap on him so far on this station. He looks like he's moving through it a little bit easier, a little bit smoother with every pull than Alex is.
There's not a lot in it.
If you look at it, one of the interesting scenarios we're looking at right now is if you look at our top 3 we're seeing at the moment, that's the top 3 just in a slightly different order. They'll be at Amsterdam as well. So 1, 2, 3 in the race right now are already qualified for the World Championship, which makes it really, really interesting for the athletes behind.
Yeah, really interesting, and it is so close at the moment that none of them are lagging behind too much. In the 4th spot is Tim Vinish, and then behind him is Yannick Chapla, and then behind him is Sadiq El Fattori coming into the sled pull. But this station can be a separator, so it'd be interesting to see how they look when they're coming out.
Ronchevich on to the next length.
So I think Ryland's on his last length here.
Ryland on his last length, so is James Kelly, who's gone past Alex Ronkovic at this stage now. And Tim Vinish is the big mover at the sled pull. He is on the way out. He took a moment to cheer on the crowds here. The German is making his move from behind, and now this is a really interesting scenario. If you look at it, as James Kelly is now coming out as well. Alex Ronkovic is losing valuable time right now on the competition. Ryland Shedek, he's going to run up to Tim Vinish, I have no doubt, but Tim Vinish, an incredible runner, so if he can go with them, this can be a very decisive move for Tim Vinish, especially if you look at the competition coming from behind with Alex Ronkovic coming out just now.
Yeah, so that's John Wynn that went past Alex there as well. Alex lost a lot of time on that sled pull.
It's unusual.
All right, we've got a change in the top 5, top 6.
That's Graham Halliday just behind Alex, and then Sebastian Everson on his debut in the Elite 15 just behind Graham there.
And Yannick Chapla also losing serious positions now. He came 5th, and he is still about half a lane away from finishing that sled pull as Pelayo's on the way out now. Bo Wilt is on the way out now as well.
Halliday, 45 behind. Everson, 48 behind.
Yannick Chapla dropped from 5th to 2nd last at the sled pull. And only the Frenchman Geoffrey Wazin coming from behind.
So with James Kelly, Ryland Shedeg and Alex Ronkovic claiming their spots in Amsterdam, potentially you could get sixth place today and still qualify for the World Championships, which is how it stands at the moment. Because those 3 are in those top 6, then it would roll down to 6th spot. So at the moment, Graham Halliday is sitting in that final qualifying position.
But he got Sebastian Everson, you know, breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an interesting one. If you look at it, Sebastian Everson coming from an OCR background, probably got most of his most challenging workouts out of the way now. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he does. He had that, what he calls himself, sort of a breakthrough race in Hamburg with the 56 minutes that he posted there. I think that gave him a huge confidence boost. And let's see if he can, you know, use that here, use that positive energy. And Tim Vinish, he's really, really doing well on that run. I mean, we saw Ryland Shedek on that run before. I don't know if he was just going for the fastest ever run lap within Hyrox history or what the plan was there. But he is now, after the sled pull, he's not able to close the gap even a bit on Tim Vinish at the moment.
No, Tim's run looks really strong, really calm, really composed here. He's looking great.
So, of course, we gotta compare the run splits for you once we see them coming through.
Now, I don't see Michael Sandbach's name in that top 14 now. I wonder if he's pulled out. We'll see if we can get confirmation on that, but at the moment it doesn't look like he's in the top 14.
At 4 grabs, each major holds a total purse of 60,000 US dollars, 30 for the men, 30 for the women.
That's a very good point. Looking around the track as Tim Vinish is coming into the next workout. It is time for the burpees. We cannot spot Michael Sandbach at the moment. So Tim Vinish, now again, very important, clean execution there. You're seeing the head referees really close by. They're giving the markers where they can put their feet. Eagle eyes from the head judges. There was a quick verbal communication with Tim Vinish as well. James Kelly, Ryland Shattuck. James Kelly right up there with Ryland. He is having another spectacular race today here in Hong Kong.
Yeah, good run that from James. He was 10 seconds behind leaving the sled pool behind Ryland, and he's coming ahead of him there. So that's a really solid run from James.
And very solid burpees coming through from them as well. Tim Vinish looking over, not important. It's good, it's fast, it's clean. Burpees that he's shown right now. James Kelly is catching up to him, but that's just what it is when you're trying to out-burpee James Kelly. But Tim Vinish done incredibly well there. No break at the end of the burpees.
Almost halfway in this mentally race for the race team.
This is a real showdown at the burpees. Halfway through, Tim Vinish, he does not have time to take a single break here with James Kelly coming from behind. Ryland Shattuck losing just a little bit, and we're hearing Michael Sandbach, indeed, it's confirmed, retired from the race. So that's the sad news for now. We're going to try to find out what the story behind that is. So Michael Sandbach out, and with that, we will keep focusing on our man and the burpees. James Kelly, he was the early mover in the race. He made up a little bit of distance to Tim Vinish. It looked like he might have just slowed down a tiny bit right now, as they got one more lane to go. And I think the overall break that Tim Vinish took there at the turnaround might accumulate to about 3 seconds, but you can see now slowing down just a little bit in his movements. They are suffering at the burpees there. He needed that little bit of extra breather. He's got to push through now. James Kelly is coming from behind. If those two can get out on the run shoulder to shoulder, we are in for a real treat towards the second half of the race here at the second major of the season, live from Hong Kong.
They are slowing a little bit at the end here, but I did think that they started very, very aggressively. For the first couple of lengths at least, they were moving through these burpees really, really quickly. I think they were really pushing it. Be interested to see what they can do on this run now and how much they've suffered as a result.
But you can see Tim Vinish on the way out, but he suffered on those burpees a little bit. James Kelly literally almost missing that turn. A way quicker step on the way out. Tim Vinish is grabbing some drinks. James Kelly is going to be with him in just a second. And now Ryland Shattuck as well out of the burpees into the second half of the race.
Ryland Shattuck back to the track. We got 3 out there.
And a little bit of drama in the fight for our World Championship qualifier. Sebastian Eppersen, the Hyrox newbie from Denmark, getting a 5-meter penalty at the burpees. That's going to cost him some serious valuable time.
And Alex Ronchevich really struggling coming out of that burpees. He's just been passed by Graham Halliday. His run, it doesn't look anywhere near as strong as we've seen on previous races.
Back to the track.
So it's Tim Venich left the burpees there in first position, then second, third and fourth are those who've got their World Championship qualifying spots already from Amsterdam. So then it's Graham Halliday and John Wynne in fifth and sixth who will get that spot, but they're very, very closely followed by Pelayo Menendez in seventh at the moment.
Sebastian Iversen not happy, shaking his head. He does not agree with the referee's decision here. Yannick Chapla leaving the workout station right behind him. Definitely suffering here as well. But look at our athletes coming out of the workout. So we've got Menendez, Fernandez, Pelayo. He is in seventh out. Chasing Johnny Wynn. We got Graham Holiday, Alex Rankovic, Ryan Shattuck, James Kelly, Tim Venich up there in our top 7. Quick high five from Bo Wells for Tim Venich. James Kelly, he was really close. He looked a lot faster coming out of the workout station, but it doesn't look like he can close the gap quite as much. And we talked about that penalty for Iversen. And so if you look at lane 5 in the middle, that's an interesting one. What are you seeing?
I think, so we were in the briefing earlier and they talked about the step up. So if you're going to do the step up, you can just go 1, 2. You can't take more than those 2 little steps. Even if your hands don't, even if your feet don't pass the hands, you can't take more than just 2 steps. I think he almost dragged himself up a little bit there and it looked like 3 steps maybe that he'd taken. That's why he got sent back. Very, very hard.
Tough one. You saw how much he was struggling. He was literally on his knees there for a second.
Yeah.
Then took a step too much. You know, it's a tough call, but it's the right call. They've been very clearly briefed on that.
Yeah.
So that's the penalty we've seen for Sebastian Iversen.
Yeah.
Tim Venich back in. James Kelly about 4 seconds, maybe 5 behind. So he might have clawed back a little bit of time. He was 9 seconds after the burpees. There he is right behind Tim Venich, who's taken another drink. And James Kelly, again, refusing the drink. So he is heading into the workout ahead of Tim Venich. Look at that. Just a little bit of a statement right there.
That was the statement, wasn't it? That was, I'm gonna get in ahead of you.
Oh, but he is pumping right now. Look at him. Look at Ryan Kelly. And you see that how he's playing with his tongue right now? That's the dry mouth. You cannot imagine if you've not done Hyrox before, your mouth dries out so incredibly fast. You know, going full gas in those exhibition centers. And you can just see that. I think he's got that problem right now, the way he was playing with his tongue. James Kelly skipping the water station to make sure he's into workout number 5 ahead of Tim Venich. Rylan Sheddick next to them. Way higher cadence right now, Rylan Sheddick, but he's got some ground to make up for. And he's struggling with his strap there. Had to readjust it 2 or 3 times. You see, the thing about the row is it's not just about the distance you make, it's not just about the power you put out there, but it's so much about the efficiency and how much energy you can preserve. Like, just imagine you can achieve the same pace by keeping your heart beat 5, 7 beats lower per minute. It's going to make a huge difference for the next run coming up.
Yeah, you don't always get back what you put into the row. Like, it can cost you a huge amount to try and gain that extra 5-10 seconds. So it's been a little change in the qualifying positions here with James Kelly, Ryan Steg in first and third. It would be Tim Venich, Graham Halliday and Pelayo Menendez in second, fourth and fifth that will get the qualifying spots at the moment. But it is very close and John Wing's not far behind at all.
And it's very interesting, if you see and look at Tim's the way he initiates the next pull. You see that little whip motion from the bottom, and that's where there's just very different styles, very different opinions on what's better. Some say it's just got to be a straight line forward and back, and then others, and this is coming both from professional Ryan, others say, you know, that whip in motion makes it smooth and just a solid transition. So that's what he's choosing here at the row erg.
One person to keep an eye on for the qualifying spots as well is Bo Wills there, sitting in ninth. But we often forget about him sometimes on this commentary because he's never in a great position towards the start of the race. But he always does so well in the back half of the race, and he can gain an awful lot of places, an awful lot of times. Just keep an eye on him. Like wall balls unbroken, you might expect. His lunges are very, very good. His farmer's carries are very good. So I think he can close that gap.
But, you know, you got to be careful because what we're talking about right now to sixth place is 180 meters on the row, which is, you know, quite significant on the gap here. So look at that. Stroke rate 29 for Ryland Sheddick. James Kelly 29 as well. Tim Vienisch going to 34 right now. So he is definitely picking up that cadence. And with that, he's also picking up the pace. He's by now put good solid 30 meters, 35 meters by the time they're at 1,000 into James Kelly. And again, James Kelly is the man who needs to hunt Tim Vienisch. Fairly slow transition. This is something we can work on a little bit, Tim. This is something where I'm saying, Tim, if you rewatch this at some point, look at Kate Davey. That's amazing. Her transitions at the row, how smooth in a forward motion. She just opens one foot, next forward motion, the next one, 2 more, 3 more pulls, and she is off the row, is incredibly smooth. So Tim Vienisch out, James Kelly out, Ryland Sheddick on the way. He's going to be there in just a second. And then it's shoulder to shoulder, Graham Halliday and Lau Menendez Fernandez. So I'm going to ask you flat out at this point, is Alex Ronkovic's dream of the Grand Slam dying today already?
I think it is. I think even he can't make up this time on the 5 guys above him. If he wants to win this race, he's got an awful lot to do, and really they would need to have a real mare, all of them, if I'm honest, for him to be able to do that. So yeah, I think that dream has died today.
Ronkovich back to the track.
And it's interesting to see how, you know, the fanny pack is now becoming a very popular accessory for our Hyrox elite athletes. I think professionally you would call this a spy belt or something like that. Which at the end of the day, it's a glorified fanny pack. That's where they keep their gels. Alex Ronkovich is wearing, you know, cargo, I don't want to call them pants, tights, whatever, for that, with little pockets where he puts his nutrition. But that's what we were talking about. You know, the nutrition is becoming more and more important to dial it in the training, but in the race here as well. You cannot push through this hour of full gas without any added calories.
No. And they're allowed to use put the nutrition on the table as well, their own nutrition on the table, but some of them are obviously choosing to carry it with them as well. So James looks like he's passed Tim here on this run.
Again, I'm thinking Tim Vienisch, solid, you know, zip from the bottle at the 8 station, making sure it's all controlled. I mean, what do you do in the situation right now? You know, you're at the limit, you're suffering. Tim Vienisch, all he needs is a top 6 result right now as it stands. Top 5, top 6 to qualify for the World Championship, which is the minimal goal of the day. But now you've got that win so close, you potentially got it out for grabs. How do you approach the rest of the race?
The rest of the race, you just got to go hard. There's no like pacing it really so much from this point onwards. Up to the burpees, yeah, there is. But now you're in a real race and it's really, really close and every second counts. You just can't afford to hold back. You can't afford to leave anything on the table. Especially with like, I think I mentioned Bo Wills earlier. We think he can go unbroken. I think Graham Halliday, we know, can go unbroken on the wall balls. So there's some guys that aren't going to be losing. Oh,
and we're seeing cramping from Bo Wills, just as you're talking about him, as you're talking about the potential of the unbroken wall balls. And, you know, what we're seeing there, that might just be that trip to Hong Kong. It's quite a journey for the athletes to come here. You know, you've got places that seem to be a little closer for some athletes from some continents than others, but Hong Kong is kind of like a journey for everybody coming here. Unless you live somewhere in Asia, then you've got a hot humidity. It's not been too hot the last couple of days. We had a lot of overcast, but you got that humidity. It's not easy for the body. But definitely feel himself today. James Kelly, Tim Vanish in the lead. James Kelly is the first into the farmer's carry. Oh boy, if Tim Vanish wants to beat James Kelly, where do you think it can happen?
Probably, if anywhere, it would happen on the wall balls. James hasn't gone unbroken on the wall, but at the same time, he doesn't lose an awful lot of time there. He's just, you know, we've seen him break once or twice in the past. So if it can happen, it could be there. But there's not a lot of time that I don't think James is going to give up in the remainder of this race, in all honesty. But that said, it was only 8 seconds coming into it, so if Tim can put in some solid runs, put in a solid performance on the lunges as well, then 8 seconds for sure can be closed. But James doesn't have any weaknesses left.
It's going to be an interesting showdown in the finale here. James Kelly in the lead here at the second major of the season in Hong Kong. Tim Vanish not far behind in the picture right now. You know, it'll also be interesting to see, like Tim Vanish was saying, it's like he is in the best shape he's ever been in. So he knows exactly where his strengths are right now, where he might have improved a little bit compared to the past. So the big question is, does he maybe know something that we don't know? That does he have a move planned or not, or is it just all out all the way here? Right now, it looks like he might be able to close just a few meters in the later stages of that farmer's carry. He's getting real close to James Kelly now. Now it's just about a clean drop. Make sure you got a clean drop. Here we go. This time around, all good for Tim Vanish. He is skipping the drinks this time around. He's trying to go with James Kelly, but James Kelly is opening up those running legs straight away. Incredible transition out of the farmer's carry back onto the run. From James Kelly, he is really making Tim Vanish work for his money today here in Hong Kong.
Gabe Heck in 7, Jonathan Wynn in 8.
All right, so we've got those two out. We got Rylan Sheddick coming through as well. He just made this last turn at the farmer's carry. Graham Halliday is coming from behind. Palau is doing real well. Alex Ronkovic trying to fend off the boys behind them.
Graham Halliday looking good here, Captain Ryland today.
Rylan Sheddick out. Graham Halliday is right with him.
Graham Halliday essentially left the farmers' carries together there, so he clawed back 14 seconds on Rylan Sheddick on the farmers' carries, which decent gap on the farmers.
And I'm just keeping a close eye on Bo Wills, who we're seeing in the farmer's carry right-hand corner of the screen right now as well, after we saw him cramp on the run, because this right now puts so much pressure on your legs as well.
James again looking really, really good on this run here. So they left the farmer's carry within 1 second of each other, but it looks like he's opened up a little gap on Tim.
If you look at Graham Halliday right now out there on the run, his background is any kind of like strength sport and sprinting. So what he's been focusing on in the recent months is his endurance for the race here. And right now it looks a lot like, you know, it's starting to pay off. He's got the general speed, he's got the strength. We've seen him struggle in the later stages of the race, not quite being able to keep up with the pace, but what a fantastic race for the Scotsman right now.
He does always race very well as well. Like it's sometimes like borderline whether he's going to qualify based purely on time in one of these Elite 15 races. But when he gets in one of these races, or when he's in a normal season race, not non-Elite 15, he always races very well. He normally wins those non-Elite 15 races, and then always performs strongly here. He was 5th at the World Championships in Manchester, 7th I think he was in Nice. So always does strongly, and yeah, doing great again here today.
And we were talking about, you know, like data, training and everything in the women's race already. And I said, you know, like most of our Elite 15 women said they're still going by feel, not by numbers, which is starting to look very different for our men's Elite 15. Since we were just talking about Graham Halliday, he's switched very much from all field to a lot of data-driven, to blood testing and everything to make sure threshold training, everything, really working on those weaknesses and analyzing them by numbers and everything. So a very different direction we're seeing in the elite men's race compared to the elite women's race at the moment. James Kelly, there he is. He managed to get a few more seconds out of Tim Venish and into the sandbag lunges now. Is this going to be the day for for James Kelly?
I think it could be. I've got to say that the speed at which he just ran into them lunges was incredible. It was like an all-out sprint he finished that run off with. Very, very impressive. So he's looking good at the moment. He's moving through these lunges really well and all.
And you can see it, like he is still going step by step by step, whereas with Tim, very often we see that little in-between tip that we're seeing now. He does it especially on his right foot, and it does take a lot of that pressure off for just a second. You just got a split second where you don't have your leg muscles all activated, and they can relax a little bit, but it also does cost you just a little bit of time. What a race from James Kelly that we're seeing here. As we're still waiting for the chasers to even come in.
Here we go, Ryan today, let's go! 4th and 5th, Graham Halliday.
Oh, what a race behind Ryan Shattuck is in Graham Halliday. Pelayo Fernandez is in as well. That's the duo right now. 4th, 3rd, 4th and 5th, as we're seeing it. James Kelly is the big mover at the moment. He's now more than 3/4 of a lane of a sandbag lunges lane ahead of Tim Venish, and into his last lap already. Alex Ronkovic now coming in as well. Ronkovic, he might not have a lot to win here today, but the reality is being qualified with the World Championship, he also doesn't have a lot to lose anymore.
No.
If you look at where he is, it's somewhere in no man's land. We'll see if he's going to be able to make a little move or not, but he had a solid gap coming in here at 6th overall. Tim Venish seems to be finding just a little bit more of a groove, little less, you know, like in-between stepping that we're seeing from him, more fluent movement. He definitely did not lose any more on that last lap and a half on James Kelly, but still the gap is somewhere at about 2/3 of a lane. James Kelly just dropping the sandbag, not far enough back. That cost him 3-4 seconds, but no trouble for James Kelly, who is out and on the way to the wall balls.
Come on, James, let's push it. One run.
Ah, Tim Venish, he needs a clean drop now. Here we go, clean drop, and he is out. Tim Venish, I want to say, round about maybe 12-ish seconds, 15-ish seconds behind James Kelly onto that final run on the way towards the wall balls. And then we will see, it looks like the man from Spain, Pelayo Fernandez, Menendez Fernandez might be third coming out. He's gone past Ryland Shettick. Graham Halliday just a little slower than the others. And we can fair and square say it is not the day of Alex Ronkovic, as we see Graham Halliday on the big screen. You see Alex Ronkovic in the background with the black cap, now sort of like on the right-hand screen, off right-hand side of the screen, moving to the right. Not the day for the world champion. And with that, Greg, I'm going to leave you here. I'm going to head down to the wall balls because I want to see all the action live.
Okay.
Representing Australia, races in Asia a lot. Is he going to take first place?
So that's Pelayo leaving the lunges there. He's made up some time. He came in behind Graham Halliday coming into the lunge. He came in behind Ryland, but he's come out ahead of him, done really, really well there. And he's looking strong on the run coming out. Ryland's leaving now as well. That's a big move from Pelayo. Stops for a bit of a drink now, but he's got the time. He's got the time in his hand. If he wants this World Championship qualifying spot, he's got some time to play with. That's Graham left, but I'm seeing John Wins not far behind him and Alexander Ronkovic not far behind him. And then they're closely followed by Gabe Heck there. But as it stands, it would be Tim Ranich, Pelayo Menendez, and then Graham Halliday claiming the World Championship qualifying spot. But like I said, John Wins not far behind Graham at all, just 15 seconds in it, which can certainly be made up in this last run and then on the wall balls.
All right, and we're down here at the wall balls now, waiting for James Kelly, 4-hour leader in the race today. And what another incredible run we're seeing for the man. He was third in the first major of the season, qualified for the World Championship already. And behind him, Tim Venisch from Germany in second, 17 seconds down.
He's looking to take first place. Our attention also moves to Tim, who will secure the place.
Great performance here, he's got to say, from Gabe Heck, who only got the call up a few days ago when Jake Dearden had to pull out due to injury. So he was essentially in on the roll down spot, but he's in 8th position here today in what is largely a home race. He lives in Thailand, so he's not had to make a huge journey, but it's a great performance so far.
And yes, Greg, you said it before, you know, we haven't seen unbroken wall balls from James Kelly yet, but looking at the way it stands right now, does he even need them today?
No, he doesn't need him. There's a 17-second gap on Tim as they left the lunges. So he's got a few wall balls to play with, and Tim you typically wouldn't expect to do unbroken either. So he's got a bit of time to play with, but I think he'd like to do it for sure.
Well, he is down with us at the wall balls. James Kelly has arrived as the leader of the second major of the season. The man who is dealing with the humidity in Hong Kong the best at the moment. And here comes Tim Venisch from Germany. He said it himself before, as we're seeing a no-rep from James Kelly. Tim Venisch said it before, he is the strongest he's ever been, and he is definitely showing us here today that he is back and that he is somebody to be reckoned with heading towards the World Championship in June in Chicago. But right now it is this showdown here between James Kelly, Tim Venisch. 100 wall balls to be done for victory here, and James Kelly, 23 wall balls done. So Tim Venisch about 9 wall balls behind right now. James Kelly headed towards the 30. Tim Venisch just finishing 20. And the judges, he is getting the call right now. He needs to go lower. He needs to keep them clean in order not to be no reps here, Tim Venisch. 40 wall balls for James Kelly, and Tim Venisch is already taking the first rest here. He is taking it way before James Kelly. And Palau coming in third, the man from Spain. What an incredible race here today. Lauren predicted a strong race from the man from Spain before the race, and here he is to prove it. As Ryland Sheddick now coming as well, not too far behind. Graham Halliday seems to be making a turn into the rock zone, but James Kelly, our leader, he is 56 wall balls in already. And Tim Venus, he needs to be careful right now. He's got 3 head judges around him, making it clear he needs to squat deeper. He is not going deep enough. Couple of no reps here. He's got 51 repetitions, 65 for James Kelly.
55 for Tim Venus. 72 for James Kelly. Come on, JK. 54 on the clock. And then the numbers in the countdown. 78 for James Kelly.
It is heading into the final stretches down here at the wall balls. James Kelly, he got 80 reps. We got 65 for Tim Venus. Tim Venus had to take a couple of breaks here already, and if we're looking at the chasers behind, we've got 42 for Pelayo, 37 for Ryland Sheddick, but both are taking a break right now. Graham Halliday sitting there at 35. He is close as well. Alex Ronkovic is down here as well. And remember, everybody, it is about the World Championship spots here as well. The final 3 wall balls for James Kelly, who's going to take the win here today in Hong Kong. Here he comes, James Kelly. In a 55-16 that he's posting on the day in Hong Kong. Incredible race. Tim Venus is checking his number of wall balls. And we're seeing 90 wall balls for Tim Venus right now. He has taken another little breather. Pelayo at 64. Tim Venus is safe in second place, counting them down with the huge crowds we're seeing down here in Hong Kong. But Tim Venus is at the limit. His body, his legs are shaking. He's taking another break, another no rep for Tim Venus. A break with 4 to go. The man from Germany is leaving it all on the floor here in the Asia World Center. Another no rep for Tim Venus. And here we go, final rep, Tim Venus across the line. Absolutely shattered. He had 3 no reps in the final 10 reps with his entire body just absolutely shaken. But let's take a close look here at Pelayo, 85, Ryland Sheddick, he is 75, he's 10 behind. It is looking good for the man from Spain. But it is Graham Halliday. Graham Halliday is passed into third. He just needs to push through now. The man from Scotland is trying to steal third spot from Pelayo. It is a duel between Spain and Scotland, and it's going to Scotland. Graham Halliday taking third overall, going past Pelano Menendez Fernandez from Spain, who is just finishing his last one now, and he doesn't listen. He's finished. Pelano Menendez so much in the zone, he does a solid 102, not listening, and a sprint between John Wynn and Alex Ronkovic. With the better end for Jonathan Wynn. It is unbelievable what we're seeing down here. What an incredible race. Ryland Sheddick is losing his race at the wall balls. Nothing, absolutely nothing left in the tank. But ladies and gents, if you look at the times, there is 37 seconds between third And I got to do the math here, 8th in the race today. An incredible and absolutely ridiculous race in the Elite men's 15 that we're seeing here today in Hong Kong. Time to take a quick breath, head back to the studio, and then I can't wait for our little analysis of the race here from Lauren and Greg. But of course, for now, we're gonna watch the rest of our athletes cross the finish line. But we can say it is the day of James Kelly, the man from Australia, who had this fantastic race at the major in Amsterdam already, and then takes the win at the second major of the season in Hong Kong. We've also seen Alex Ronkovic. He is not gonna get the Grand Slam this year. He said it in the pre-race interview up in the Buddha statue with Lauren, that it was still the dream. That dream is off the table. And I think it's fair to say it wasn't his day at all. But with the analysis, we're getting, or going down to Lauren and Greg to the studio.
Till, thank you so much, Greg. Oh my gosh, I mean, predicting crazy finishes, it kind of happens a lot in Hyrox, but to have such a short amount of time for that final World Championship spot, what does that tell you about what we just watched, the depth of field?
Depth of field, like, it was, from start to finish, it was so hard to call who was going to do it, who was going to win the race, who was going to finish second, third. It was going down to 6th at one point. Ultimately, you had to finish 4th to get the qualifying spot. So, yeah, crazy, crazy race. And it really, a lot changed hands at the wall balls there. Like, it can be a real separator, that race. And if you can put it in on the wall balls, then it can make a big change in Hyrox for sure.
It's unbelievable. JK's dominance, his first major win in the elite field, if we ignore the LCQ that got into last year's World Championships. It just goes to show whatever he is doing is working.
It's working, it's working. He loves to race. And he's so consistent as well. He's raced a few times this season and always done really, really well. Like, he just narrowly missed out in Amsterdam on the win. I think that will mean a lot to him today. Like, to win a major race, I think is going to give him the confidence that he can ultimately win World Championships this year. I think that's one that he really, really wanted. You know, he's won races in Australia this season. He finished 3rd in Nice. To get that win today, I think will mean a lot. And you could see at the finishing line when he was hugging his partner Georgie, like, he'd put in a lot. He'd dug really, really deep to be able to get that today.
He's always got some wonderful ugly tears on the finish line. That's my favourite thing about JK. But the other thing that I really appreciate about that man is his patience. Because the field did get away from him at the beginning, and he didn't, and obviously that kind of battle with Tim, he didn't let it fluster him at all. He just gently settled into his own race. And I feel like that's maybe something that his coach has really worked with him on.
Yeah, I think so. I think he knows. I think they really planned in meticulous detail how to approach the race, how to pace it. But his running is looking so good. And when you've got the confidence in the running, which is such an integral part of Hyrox, then you can feel calm because you know you can put it in on the runs for sure.
Exactly that. And actually, the man himself is coming over to us in studio right now. JK, unbelievable. Your first major win, ignoring that LCQ. And in front of an APAC crowd with your friends, your family, your girlfriend all on the finish line. What does it mean?
It's surreal still. Can't believe I just did that. I got a lot of motivation from the young whippersnipper Joanna about an hour before me. So 2 from 2 for the Aussies tonight. We'll take that.
What does that tell you about Australia at the moment and the growth we're experiencing in that part of the world?
It's been amazing the last 6 months, especially being a part of the Aussie community, the Hyrox community. I mean, it's just getting started down under, and there's a lot more athletes to come in this elite space as well. So it's really exciting.
With you claiming the spot in Amsterdam like you did you approach today any differently? Did you go out more aggressively or anything like that?
No, I am so lucky to have the hybrid engine mastermind Anthony Pericini in my corner, and I don't say that lightly at all because we focus on my race and my race only. I didn't know where anyone else was today, to be honest. I was focusing on my race tactics, executing that, and I did did that perfectly tonight, hence the win. So I wouldn't do it without Anthony in my corner.
I think perfectly is somewhat of an understatement. For you, knowing that Anthony is so data-driven, how much separates for you being, like, reacting to the race unfolding in front of you versus running the numbers that Anthony, I have no doubt, dives very deep into?
I think the reason why we work really well together is because I'm not naturally data-driven, and he is, obviously. And due to that, I subconsciously go off feel a lot, whereas he reminds me about, you know, paces, you know, running thresholds off the ski versus off the row, all this stuff. And it's just a slight reminder here and there for me to go, okay, cool, that's where I'm heading, that's where I want to go, that's how I execute to win, yeah.
James, go enjoy it. The perfect patient performance. You are the champion in Hong Kong. Congratulations. Enjoy it all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys.
Well done.
And talking of near-perfect performances, Tim Wienisch, another unbelievably impressive, 5th in Amsterdam, but to come out and secure a podium and battle that man James Kelly for the entire race, and also lead for some of it. That was particularly impressive as well.
Yeah, it really was. And it's great to see him fit and ready. He's suffered with injuries in the past, so to have the consistent training block he has, is paying dividends, it seems.
We're going to bring him in right now. Come over here, Tim boy. Good job. Please talk me through the race plan. Like, kind of to see you leading from the front for a period of time, that battle with JK, and for you to be so dominant. You must be so proud of that.
I'm very proud of me. So normally my race plan was not to go in front, but it's like me, I can't go in the back, so I need to pass Sandy, I think. And yeah, I felt great during the skierg. I slowed down my pace, and sled push was tough, and I had a good sled pull, and then I knew, okay, that's my time. It's my time today to secure the World Championship spot, and yeah, I'm so proud. To be honest, I'm very proud of me, and especially my family and my friends. So hello to my friends in Germany. I knew they sit all for the TV and support me. It's midday. I hope they celebrate me with some beers. And yeah, so thank you, Mom and Dad and my sister especially. They support me all the time, and since 1.5 years I wait for this moment after all the injury to be fucking back. And I know that I'm now back. And yeah, it will be a big season for me, and yeah, it's nice. It means a lot.
Mentally as well, you were getting no reps on those wall balls, and you just kept your your game face. Do you feel you've grown in that regard, your ability to control emotion and get the job done?
So I knew when I was on the rower that I have almost 1 minute gap between I think the 5th place, and I know that I have good lunges and good farmer's carry, so I was chilled on the wall balls, but I had some trouble with the deepness, so I need to look the videos, so I need to work on it. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm just happy. And all the beers today goes on me, like in Vienna, and we will have a great days.
You mentioned your injuries, and you've had injuries in recent seasons. Has that been the main change? You just had a good block of training injury-free?
Yeah, that it is. It's the most important point is consistent training, and I had this since the summer. And now it's time to relax, honestly, some family time, especially meeting my friends, because yeah, I need that friend time, because life without friends is shit. And I'm so happy, no pressure onto the words, and looking forward for the rest of the season.
You crushed it, congratulations. Enjoy those beers, keep some on ice for us too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And Celia, I hope you watch that. She's my head coach, so thank you for all the tips.
Oh, she's done you well tonight. Go and enjoy it. Thank you so much. You can tag team Graham Halliday, who's just waiting off set as well. But Graham, another unbelievable performance from that man. Graham, can we just talk about the fact you weren't in the Elite 15 in Amsterdam, and then you come here and you're like, you know what? Doesn't matter about jet lag. Doesn't matter about the couple of weeks before. I'm here and I am taking a spot, and man, you did it.
I just tried my best out there. Like, I just realised, like, on the ski, I seen a couple of guys pushing right hard, so I was like, I'll just scale back here, just run my own race, and I did that, and I just got the job done.
Was there a point in the race where you felt like, this is mine, like I can do this?
Pretty much. See, after the burpees, I kind of thought, I think I was in top 5. I was like, I can push a couple of spaces here. And then on the runs, I was managing to stay with Paleo, and usually that's quite tough. And then that's when I realised, I was like, I've got a really good chance here.
You've obviously had to travel a long way. A lot of athletes have. Do you feel like jet lag impacted you at all? It didn't seem like it.
Nah, but I already like fixed that before I came. I already like started to change my plan, change my sleep, get different light exposure. I tried that, and it seemed to work and pay off there.
I think that's an understatement. You absolutely did. Graham, the podiums are going to start soon. You've got to go and enjoy the moment.
Well, thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Well done.
Cheers.
That was an incredible performance from that man. But speaking of incredible performances, oh look, they're even calling him to this stage. We've stopped him from enjoying his moment and getting up for the podiums. They are coming up soon. But let's take a little look at the results, because especially at the end of that men's race, I'm not even sure who came where, quite frankly. It got so hectic. And look at that. Obviously, James Kelly, best career result, finished. Tim finished second, Graham Halliday third. What a podium. But you've also got Polayo Menendez. He books his ticket as the final one. Amazing from the Spaniard. But let's take a look. Jonathan Wynn. That is a huge result for Jonathan. And actually, he can take a lot of confidence from that. And then poor Alex Ronchevich. It was not his day. And then, yeah, Gabe Heck in 7th. What do you make of this? Very quickly, an overview. What would be kind of your standout?
I think aside from the guys that we've talked about in terms of qualifying spot, John Wynn, like you just touched on there, only 5 seconds behind Polayo Menendez there in getting a qualifying spot. Ronchevich just said it wasn't his day, but he's still put in a 57.30, so still a very good time for him. But Gabe Heck as well. So Gabe Heck, John Wynn, their performances are really, really strong. And then Rylan Shadegg, you know, another 57.47 from him. Not his best performance, but still a strong one.
So Rylan Shadegg obviously on the podium last time out. This time we get to celebrate a couple of new faces as well as some familiar ones. Let's head on down to the floor to celebrate our athletes.
All right, in third place, winning $3,500 from Scotland. Put your hands together for Graham Halliday. All right, second place, winning $5,000 from Germany. Please make some noise for Tim Beanish. All right, Hong Kong, I need your noise. First place, well known in Hong Kong, winning $7,500, representing Australia, James Kelly. Congratulations to our top 3. One more round of applause for the gents, please. All right, one more time. Thank you, gentlemen. We will see you soon. All right, it is time for the women, please. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. In third place from the UK, winning $3,500 US. Make some noise for Kate Davey. All right, second place, Team USA, winning $5,000. Put your hands together for Lauren Weeks. All right, rounding out, it appears to be Australia's day today. your female champion winning $7,500. Put your hands together for Joanna Wedrick. Team Australia at the top of the podium. Please put your hands together one more time for the women. Elite 15. Congratulations to our top three, as well as the rest of the athletes. What a way to kick off the Hong Kong Major. The Hong Kong.
An unbelievable weekend of racing. Aussie dominance here in Hong Kong as we have two on the top step. Joanna Wedrick and James Kelly have done the job. But it doesn't end here. Our season is only just beginning. The second major of the year turns to the third. As Greg, we look ahead to Las Vegas at the end of January. You excited? A little bit of fun under the lights?
Very much looking forward to Las Vegas. But yeah, there's going to be some more great racing. We're going to see some more athletes there. The field is so strong. And now, because 6 qualifying spots have been claimed in each race, you know, you can essentially finish maybe even 7th, 8th and 9th and still get the spot. So it's very exciting. There's a lot to race for sure.
I know you've discussed this before, but there seems to be a huge amount of focus on the Las Vegas race, probably with this one being such further afield for the Americans. And we're going to see a lot of big names back.
Yeah, we're going to see people like Hunter McIntyre, presumably, is going to be there. Ryan Kent, I think, will be looking to race in that race. Rich Ryan, who put an incredible time the other day in Chicago. Presuming he qualifies for that race, he'll be there. So big names featuring in that race for sure.
Gosh, didn't he just? Talking of fast races and qualifications, we have ourselves 6 now qualified out of the men and the women, all heading to Chicago. What kind of relief is that for those athletes?
It's a big relief. Like Tim just mentioned there, like he wants to spend some time with his friends, taking a little bit of downtime. If you're constantly chasing that qualifying spot all the way up to June next year, then it can be draining. It can be really fatiguing to try and be Hyrox ready for the rest of the season. So to know you've got that in the bag now, and then maybe take a little bit of time off, not be quite so specific. I think it's a big benefit to be able to do it early in the season for sure.
Favourite moment from today?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think thinking about Joanna, like such a young athlete, so new to the sport, and then looking so calm and composed and strong throughout. I think that was really nice to see.
It really was. That, and I mean, Tim Beanish as well, also quite young in the scheme of things. So a lot of excitement still to come from the youth coming through. And we're at the beginning of a huge weekend of community racing. Yeah,
it's a huge event here. Like, we're in a huge hall. There's going to be like thousands of athletes here. The sport is growing worldwide, but to have this event here in Hong Kong was such a big event as well. Yeah, it's an exciting start to the weekend.
Exciting start to the weekend, indeed. And at the halfway point of our majors season, we've locked up 6 spots to the world champs in the men and the women. Aussie dominance, they did the double. They're doing pretty well, aren't they? Anyway, that is all from myself, from Greg, from Till. That is all for the moment from Hong Kong, China. It's been a complete pleasure. And Greg, cheers it.
Cheers.
We'll see you later.
In a 55.60 that he's posting on the day in Hong Kong. Incredible race. Tim Beanish is checking his number wobbles.